Welcome to Bourbon Beards and Belvederes. I'm Adam.
And I'm Paul.
And I'm Jerry.
And today we are foregoing our standard format of reviewing beard products and whiskey, at least. We do have some cigars to talk about, some very special guests. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Yeah, my name is Cynn Coburn, and this is Joshua Coburn. We're the owners of Dissident Cigars.
Very, very cool. We're very glad to have you here with us. We're always excited to have guests join us. We like hearing about their products and their journeys and their stories and everything they've got to offer and share with us. Jerry, which cigar did you happen to grab?
I ended up grabbing their sample pack a while back and then smoking the block out of it. Okay. And that is to pair with a fresh crack of a Penelope cigar sessions that I picked up yesterday. Found it in the store. I thought all the stores around here were sold out. And I figured this would be a good time to pop it. Just so happens. I told Paul I'll get you guys some samples and we could do like a Dissident Penelope episode after all this, or maybe even a little bonus thing or something. But yeah, got the block.
Yeah, right on.
Nice. All right.
American whiskey. It's a blend of, well, I'm sure we'll get into it later, but it's a blend of like light whiskey, bourbon, and I don't remember. Single
rye.
malt.
No,
there's some rye in there.
Bourbon, 100% single malt, and light whiskey.
Yeah, single malt, not the rye.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll get into that eventually. But they're going fantastic together. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Paul, what about you?
So I grabbed a handful of them. I smoked the Rant last night or the night before when I was on a Zoom drinking some whiskey, and that was fantastic. So today I decided to go with the Soapbox, which is going down nice. I mean, it's burning beautiful construction, nice burn line. Haven't had to relight or anything. Easy draw. I paired it with a Ragged Branch Cowboy Cut, which is a double barrel wheated bourbon. Because when I first lit up, I was getting some notes of like some nutmeg or baking spices kind of in the background, like behind the earthy notes on this cigar on the first draw or two. So I figured go with a nice sweet wheater, and it's pairing very nice.
Nice.
All right. Well, I ordered the sampler, but it did not arrive on time, so I'm going to have to just sit and listen.
Live vicariously.
Yes, exactly. I do have this wonderful Modelo
there you go.
mango chili. This thing's fantastic. I love these things. So I'll get into some whiskey here in just a little bit. So, anyway, Jerry, get us started. I know you got some questions written down there, so let's just jump right into it.
Well, first off, do you guys want to talk about what you guys are smoking, or can you talk about what you guys are smoking?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. So this is, as you can see, this is just a tester label on this. It's kind of, I don't know if I can get the light to,
out.
There we go. It's called Galleria Sultana. So I actually, along with Dissident, I started a secondary line called Galleria Sultana. And this line is going to appeal more to like luxury end. So like, guys on the golf course, or if you're doing like a wine tasting or whatever. So it's going to appeal more to that crowd, because actually with Dissident, I've stepped into the world of PCA. I'm doing a lot of stuff with PCA now. And so I'm evolving. There's a lot of things going on. So anyway, I knew I had to introduce a second brand to go with Dissident, just to kind of encapsulate, everybody within this industry. So yeah, this is the Galleria Sultana. I don't have a name for it yet, though. I got to come up with a name. But this is going to be the first one that's going to be released. So been smoking through these just to make sure the quality is there and the burn is there, and it's been awesome.
And I'm smoking, I don't know if I should talk about that either. I'm smoking a Dissident cigar that is a limited edition out of the new factory that is still under construction. So testing through this also, but yeah, lots of cool stuff kind of coming down the pipe that everyone will get their hands on eventually. It's just slow and steady for us right now to that end.
And I will say, I don't know if this was recording when we originally talked about that Penelope cigar sessions. I was right. It is rye, like I thought. It's 72% corn, 15% rye, and 13% malted barley. So, and I remember when we blended that, there was a discussion on whether we could technically call it a bourbon, and we decided to still call it a bourbon. But I believe it's that the American Light that kind of threw it off a little bit, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But anyway, yes. I had to show I was right on something.
I don't know shit about shit.
I think one of the things about American Light whiskey is they use used barrels, and to be considered bourbon, you got to use a new barrel. So that it probably has all the other characteristics of a bourbon, but since technically part of it was in a used barrel, they can't legally call it.
Yep.
But you guys want to give a little history about yourself and then the brand? I know that it has quite a long, decently long history that no one really knows about.
Yeah, I'll start with the brand because the Dissident's been out since 2013. It was started by a couple guys, and it was just a very tiny company. I'm not quite sure what their goal was at the time back in, what was it?
13?
Yeah, 2013. When we actually have a couple cigars from back then. One was the Block. The Block was an original from them, so very old. But then it got purchased by another gentleman, and it was acquired by Oveja Negra. And then he stepped down, and so it was offered to us. And basically, I wanted to absolutely jump on it. It's just one of those things where it's like, are you ready to take that financial dive? You know, we all know the cigar industry is not cheap. You're not gonna, if you want to get rich, like, good luck, you know. But ultimately, obviously, we decided to take this on, and we've owned it now since 2021?
2020, officially. December 2020.
Oh, I thought it was 21. Okay. Anyway, for multiple years now, we've owned Dissident, and it's still it's a brand that is still changing and evolving and growing, and it's crazy where we're at right now. And some stuff we can touch on and kind of be vague on, but when we bought Dissident, we were actually already in Nicaragua. We did not move here because of cigars. We moved here because we enjoyed this country, and we visited Nicaragua at one point. And then COVID hit. And prior to COVID, we wanted to take the kids on vacation here. And then when COVID hit, everything shut down. And basically our kids were like, well, why don't we just move to Nicaragua? And I'm like, what? You know? So we had them study Nicaragua basically. And all three of them were like, yeah, we want to still move to Nicaragua. So we did. We sold everything that we owned, literally everything that we owned. Even he's an author. He's written a number of books that have been published, and we even were able to sell off the remainder of his books that were out there. And we brought a suitcase each and moved to Nicaragua. And then just a few months after that, we were asked if we wanted to purchase Dissident. So that's what we did. And we were already cigar smokers for many, many years. And both of us, the way we operate, it's like if we're into something, we're in 110%. Obviously, you can tell by our tattoos and our willingness to just move to Nicaragua. And so I'm like, you know, we smoke cigars. Why not own a cigar company? I mean, you know, so that's how that came about. But yeah.
How long have you guys been smoking cigars? And do you remember your first one?
Yep.
For me, it was when I was a single mom. So that was many years ago. I feel like last year we were saying 8 years, so maybe like 8 or 9 years. I think we've both been smoking cigars now. But me, it was more of at the time I was a single mom, and I needed something to give myself a break from the kids while also being able to see the kids and know that they're okay. And so I walked into a party store. in Michigan, we call it party stores, but they're like
Just a convenience store.
yeah, a convenience store that happened to have cigars. And I thought I was going to be educated on cigars, and that was not the case. This guy had no idea what he was talking about, but he did give me a Connecticut, and I don't even remember what I smoked. But what I loved was when I got home, I could sit on my deck and enjoy that hour and know my kids were safe. They were inside, you know, watching a movie, whatever. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is so great, you know? And so that became a ritual for me, but I was still scared to go into cigar lounges. I didn't quite understand them that much, and they seemed really intimidating to me. And it wasn't until meeting him and he brought me into the first cigar lounge, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like what I thought. This is awesome. And that kind of just exploded for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it came down to traveling all the time with a close friend of mine who's now, well, I guess he's been a business partner and travel wife is what I call him, Ryan, for years. And he always wanted to work in cigar lounges, and I never understood why. I mean, he smoked cigars, of course, but so I just go work in cigar lounges while he smoked cigars and also worked. And over time, him and another friend of ours, Adrian, who, if you guys follow Instagram, etc., you can find Adrian at Cigars and Guns, at Cigars and Guns. But he is like, dude, just have a cigar. It'll change your experience in the lounges. And I'm just like, whatever, like, what's the difference of whether I'm working with something in my hand or not? And of course, we all know how that goes. It's completely right. And people sit down and they're like, what are you smoking? Well, nobody's going to ask that shit when you don't have anything in your hand. So no conversations had. So that changed everything for me. And funny enough, when Ryan would push me to have cigars and like talk about them, I was always like, look, dude, like, I don't need another fucking thing, because I take everything that I do to the nth degree. I don't fucking need another thing. So of course, here we are in the position we're in, owning, the factory and brands and, all the things. And so I blame him jokingly for it all. I'm like, this is all your fault. Like, that we're here now. Like, this is on you. So that's kind of the long and short of it for us. But in terms of like the education, all the other things, that's just been part of the journey, which she is the master. I'm just the arm candy.
I'll be like, here, try this cigar I blended. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, good or bad.
Right.
Like, that's all he can give me.
I suck at the notes and all those things, but and that's what's super cool, honestly, about being here, about having access to tobaccos and all the things, and obviously people who can just make cigars for you on demand, is there's always something to be smoked that no one else on this earth has ever smoked before. And that's a really cool opportunity for a cigar nerd anyway. Like, there's stuff that I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Just yesterday, actually.
So do you do all the blending for all the cigars?
Mm-hmm.
For all the Dissident, Galleria, Saltana stuff.
Yeah.
Northern Cigars is different.
Yeah. So the gentlemen that own Northern Cigars, they do their own blending. Sergio, who is one of the brothers you guys saw on that one podcast, he is wonderful with blending. So sometimes if he has a question, he'll ask me on blending, or if I'm, curious about something, he'll be able to answer it for me. So it's a wonderful partnership, but it is two separate things.
Yeah, two separate brands made in the same factory is how it'll all roll out, which again, no one knows because we haven't rolled that out officially. But that's the deal anyway.
How'd you get into and start the whole blending process? Like, did you know you wanted to do that from the start, or is that just something like, screw it, we got a brand, we need something?
Yeah, so in general, women, our taste buds are very refined. Like, we can pick up a lot of stuff that men can't do. And I noticed that pretty quickly just from smoking cigars. I'm like, man, I'm picking up on this and this. And Josh would be like, where the fuck are you getting that from? It's like leather boot and something, But I'm like, oh no, I'm tasting like, almonds and chocolate and milk chocolate and like a white pepper. And so I already had that. Like, I already knew I was good at picking up notes. And so that made it easier for me when it came to making the decision to acquire Dissident. Because, if you want to purchase a brand, you can't really rely on other people to come up with these cigars for you. You have to be knowledgeable in what you're doing. And there are many brands that they do just put labels on cigars and they throw them out there, but those people get sussed out pretty quick because they don't understand what they're talking about or where that tobacco exactly came from, or when it was grown even. There's so many aspects to it. So when I started blending cigars, I just dove right in and I started working in the fields myself to understand basically the root of it, so I could grasp what the mineral content was, and like the soil composition, and where, like, how the sun is hitting the plants. I mean, all that stuff matters. Are you growing during rainy season? How much is the rain hitting that plant, because it's washing off the resin, and you need that resin in order to have specific notes and tasting profiles. So I just, like I said earlier, everything is 110% with me. And so I just dove right in. And in the beginning, when we were with Oveja Negra, I thankfully had James, who was right there all the time with me. If I didn't understand something, he would be right there to answer questions for me. If I felt like a cigar was too mellow, or the opposite, when I first blended it, he would be like, okay, but this leaf right here, when it's aged this long, will actually turn this way, and I don't think it'll end up being a good cigar. So he was wonderful in my evolution with that. So yeah, I mean, everything was a process, and yes, I absolutely blend everything that we've done. Well, I will say block, anything that was in the core line before we bought it, obviously I did not blend, but so everything beyond the core line, Plasmatic, Revolt, Heretic, Molotov, is that it?
I think so. I feel like we're forgetting some, but
yeah, I do too. But anyway, those were all me. So yes, and then
So
continuing on.
The core lineup is the same blend as it was originally?
Yes. Yep. The soapbox changed slightly because that was originally Brazilian Matafina. The wrapper, yes. And that's just a harder tobacco to get, because you end up paying, for whatever you buy, you pay a certain amount, but that leaf is so hard to handle and it ends up tearing easily. So sometimes it's just, you got to weigh your, do you want to buy that and risk losing X amount of tobacco? It's just one of those things. And so we felt like that wasn't the best choice to make. So we changed the wrapper on that to Sumatra. So very, very similar to what it originally was. But yeah, that's the only one that really had any difference to it at all. And then actually, James and I, we sat down together and smoked through a ton of variations of the soapbox with different wrappers, and we were both like, oh man, the Sumatra, it needs to be the Sumatra. So
yep.
There's a term it's a French term used in winemaking. It's known as terroir, and that's what you've just described there. So I think it's important to point that out. A lot of people, when they hear that term, they're thinking of winemaking only, and it's actually a term that's used in whiskey making as well. It's important to know where the corn was grown, where the barley was grown, the soil composition, things like that. And it's actually taken into account when making a barrel, right? Mm-hmm. For whiskey making as well. So I just wanted to thank you for pointing that out, that it is actually something that is taken into account when creating a cigar as well. That is plant-based, so it is important to know those things, the soil composition and the fertilizers that were used, and how much sun and what time of day and all these things. So that's really cool that you pointed that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cigars are definitely all about terroir. You hear about that all the time. I mean, if you're working in a lounge as an employee, there's a lot of lounges who require their employees to go through, can't remember, like Cigar Academy, I think is what it's called. And they really touch heavily on terroir, because that's so important to understand when you're trying to explain a cigar to a customer. Like, why did this company make this cigar? Well, it came from, whatever valley. It's sometimes you'll know that in a cigar, sometimes you won't. Sometimes that's the secret sauce. We don't mind talking about that stuff. I know we're one of the few brands that will actually talk about where exactly our tobacco comes from, but there are brands that will just say Nicaraguan and Dominican, But I feel it's important to talk about the regions that these cigars are coming from. That's all education. And when you feel closer to a cigar, you're going to smoke that cigar more. And on top of it, you're getting into the history of these areas. And it's all about culture and understanding the culture of these areas as well. So we're really big on talking about terroir and where our tobacco is coming from. And, yeah.
It's good to understand too, like for us, the regions, the Ometepes and, you know, the other places locally, it's like if you ever come to visit us or visit Nicaragua in general, and you go to those places, you also understand like this is sustaining these human beings and these families.
Right.
Where I think some people sitting in lounges, you know, smoking a cigar, just like, oh yeah, I'm fucking having a cigar with my homies. This is great. That is great. But there's a bigger picture here, and it is sustaining a lot of families here. And to know like, oh, this not only is Nicaraguan, this is from this place. And if you're in that place, you can look and see it. You can see the fields. You can see the people working. You can talk to those people. If you're with us, of course, you can get into it. But it's just crazy that that's kind of the weird overlooked thing, you know, about the industry is the human beings that are actually out there, in our case, barefooted and really getting to be one with the plants and growing them. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't mind like touching on those subjects at all. Like, last year, we lost an entire crop to rain over on Ometepe. And so this year, it was decided not to grow during rainy season just because we don't want to take that risk, you know? I mean, last year we attempted it. We're like, okay, well, the island kind of is a little bit different when it comes to the rain. And, you know, usually you can grow during rainy season. But last year it was so bad and it rotted out all the plants. And they got there and they were just all slumped over and we're just like, you know, but it's important to know those things because it's not easy. This is not an easy job, especially if you're out there, you know, and you're understanding the tobacco leaves. That means you're physically touching these leaves and you're having an understanding. And, you know, if you're growing during rainy season and it's time to harvest those leaves, you know, one thing that people don't understand is if those workers are out there without shirts because it's raining and you stick those tobacco leaves under your arm, they're going to get sick. They are going to get that nicotine in their skin. So how do you compromise? You know, like what's a good way to harvest and not have these workers get sick? You know, there's just so much that goes into this stuff.
For sure, and I can personally speak to tobacco poisoning from having worked in tobacco fields as a teenager. I live in Kentucky. I've grown up in Kentucky my whole life, and tobacco is a way of life here in Kentucky. And you know, I lived across the street from a farm, and I worked that farm. It wasn't just tobacco. I worked cattle as well. But during tobacco season, that's what I did. And they stuck me in the highest tier in the barn because I was little and I could get right up there. And you know, it was hot. Oh my God, it was hot. And you know, I cut the tobacco, and you know, if you get it when it's too wet, you get it on your skin, you get too much exposure, sweat, and it's a real thing, and it is awful. It is, it's awful. It's like the worst flu you've ever had in your life, and it's just really bad. So yeah, that sucks, and hopefully there's not too many folks being exposed to that, even while working in this environment.
Right.
So going back to the blending process, what's your I guess how are you blending them? Are you going to taste, or do you have an idea of like what you want it to the final product to be like, or is it just how's that go?
Willy-nilly.
It's a mixture of both. Like, for example, with the plasmatic, for those of you that know Dissident really well, you know that a lot of those cigars are very heavy cigars. You know, a lot of them are very peppery. So with the Molotov, I intentionally did that one as a more medium cigar. And then with the plasmatic, I wanted something that was really aromatic and floral. So that one actually has notes of floral. But now it's a lot of just experimenting because we have access to so much different tobacco now, and tobacco that people have never even had before, actually, which we can't talk much about. But it's a lot of experimenting with stuff like that. and understanding like the leaf count and what happens when you take, say, you know, 2 Ligero, or if you have 2 Ligero and you take one out and you replace that with a Viso from, say, Condego, what happens with that, you know? So there's a lot of experimenting like that, and then understanding, like, you know, if you're starting with the 6x60, what happens if you take that same exact blend and bring it down to a 5x50? Well, it changes it dramatically.
Yeah.
And one thing that I kind of want to steer away from is, you know, there's so many brands that'll do, throw whatever name out there, say it's the Heretic, but they'll do it in different vitolas. And me personally, I feel like it does a disservice to the other sizes. I think they should all be independent and have different names to these cigars, because they change drastically depending on the size. You know, like the Heretic, that's in a, is it a Churchill?
It's a Churchill,
I
yeah.
think it's a Churchill.
Churchill.
If that one wasn't a Churchill, it's just not as good. And I'm not a fan of Churchills typically. I don't like the way they feel in my hand. But we knew immediately with that one, like, it is absolutely a Churchill. Like, this smokes so wonderfully. So there's so much that goes into it, because you can find a really good blend, and then you want to see if you can change it into different sizes. You know, Molotov, we had it originally as a Presidente, I think, and that one was weird. That one, I did not like it. And
it looked like a bomb, you know, because it's got that tucked on the end, and it's like,
which it visually looked awesome for what Molotov was. And I was just like, oh, hell no. It was just way too concentrated on the tip. And I was just like, no, this can't be done. So, yeah, I mean, it just, you know, another thing is when I first got into this, you know, I was like reading articles from different brands and what they're coming out with. And I quickly realized I needed to tune that out, just completely not read articles, not listen to what any other company is doing, because all that is adding pressure to me. And in the end, it does not matter what cigar you make. There's going to be people that love it and people that don't. That's just the way it is. You cannot appeal to everybody in this industry. So I appeal to myself and I make cigars that I like, because regardless, there's going to be people out there that smoke them. So I base it off of my personal preferences, and then I put them out there.
Yeah, that's one cool thing I found out about all these smaller boutique brands, or whatever you want to call them, is since you don't have to produce millions of cigars, you can find these tobacco leaves that are smaller quantities and make smaller amounts without calling them like a limited release or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, and same thing goes for whiskey with the craft. I don't know if you want to call Penelope Craft anymore. They're a huge brand now, but all these craft brands, they don't have to follow the standard mash bills or whatever. They're doing some crazy stuff, and like you said, not everyone likes it. They want the Padrones, or they want the Newmans, or the whatever, or they want the Buffalo Traces, but that's fine. They could stick with those, because I'll smoke this and the Stolen Thrones and the Black Labels, and smoke the Penelope, or drink the Penelope and Chattanoogas all day, and they can have all those mass-produced stuff that.
I think that's what's so important, right? Is like, Padron is great. There's nothing wrong with Padron, of course. But I mean, look at like the group sitting here right now could not be more the target audience of Dissident. Like a bunch of bearded tattooed dudes, you know, and a tattooed chick. Like, that's what Dissident's about. It's like that DIY punk rock kind of fuck you, we'll do it our way thing, right? And that's important. And that's part of that whole business model. And Padron, of course, is not that. It's a distinct opposite of that, in fact. And we like that. We think that's important. There has to be a Padron so we can be a dissident. You know what I mean? And that's how that works. But what's exciting for us is now at this point, we get to kind of cross the streams a little more to where we can kind of bring an elegance to boutique cigars in a way that hasn't maybe been done before, which is, you know, super cool. But then with a partnership with Northern Cigars, that also brings a true indigenous piece to what we also do coming out of the factory. I mean, this is history, and it's blending all these different pieces of the puzzle together. They're all very different brands that'll be geared toward very different people, which again, hugely important, but they'll all be super high quality cigars for a decent price is the goal.
Yeah. And I think there's this misconception sometimes from people who think that boutique cigars mean it's lacking in quality. And that's not the case. And if you come to Nicaragua and you go up to S2E, you'll see the big boys, the My Fathers and the Drew Estate. And then you see the boutique ones like Oveja Negra and some of the other smaller ones. And the thing is these rollers, they just because they're in a boutique factory doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. These people have cycled all around SLE. They have worked in all the factories. They are all doing wonderful jobs, and they are hired for a reason. They make wonderful cigars no matter what factory they're in. The wonderful thing about boutique is exactly what you said. Like James and Angela, they've stated so many times they never want to get into that category of being like an Oliva or a My Father, because then they lose access to things that they currently have access to. And I think that's important. And that's why we don't ever want to cross that threshold either. We want to be able to continuously have access to certain tobaccos. Even though now we have our own fields, we still have to outsource. I mean, if we want something from the Dominican, obviously we have to find stuff from Dominican. We can only have what we grow, and then everything else has to come from somewhere else. But when you have those connections, you're able to get tobacco that the larger companies just can't get. And so many of the larger companies don't even have their own tobacco fields either. They're buying from huge producers like Aganorsa. It's all a big, giant melting pot of wonderful tobacco that we're all sharing and doing our own little unique things to it that make each cigar unique, because some factories may double ferment, some may only ferment one time, or they're doing something special with that tobacco. So it doesn't matter if you're buying from Aganorsa, because these factories still have their own procedures with those actual leaves.
And you keep saying all these names, and I love them. I love every one of them. I think that a lot of people look at me weird whenever I tell, and I've had people actually shit all over Aganorsa whenever I talk to them about it. I'm like, man, you don't know. Like, I can show you some good ones, but and I'm very much looking forward to jumping on the Dissident train. I'm sure that I'm going to if Paul and Jerry like it. There's in the history of this show, we've been doing this for 2 years, a little over. And there's been one cigar that I did not like, and it made me sick. But it had pipe tobacco in it, and it just didn't work out for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was different. But every other one that we've had that generally, I think this is probably true at least. Generally, every cigar that we've all agreed on that we liked has come out of Nicaragua in some way or another. I'm a big sucker for a Nicaragua Maduro. And so, I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy everything you've got to offer. You're talking about Aganorsa, you're talking about Oliva, you're talking about some of these giant names. The fact that you're able to get tobacco and rollers all from within the same region and sometimes the same pool as these guys shows right off the bat that you've got some quality product and some great things to offer.
Absolutely.
And the prices that you guys offer them at is, the cherry on top. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And something else too with us is we're not, so much of the cigar culture is rooted in traditional things, right? But there's certain things where you have to make that leap into what technology is offering. And we're not afraid to take that leap. So there's a lot of things that we get to experiment with. I mean, you guys have seen, I'm sure, the traditional cigar presses, the wooden presses that you put the cigar in. Well, now you can get this, it's like a machine molded plastic, like a really dense plastic mold. And visually it doesn't look as nice, but it actually performs so much better than the wooden presses. And so we're looking into those as well, because they actually make the cigar have a very smooth appearance. Because obviously with wood, it's porous. And after so many times of pulling cigars in and out, you're going to get, little microscopic pieces of wood that are sticking out, and that's going to damage your wrapper. But with these really heavy duty plastic molds, you're not getting that. So you actually get longevity out of these and a perfect cigar. It's crazy. I was kind of against these molds at first, and I'm like, man, if anybody comes to our factory, like, they're just going to see all these like plastic molds stacked up. And I'm like, no, that's just the evolution right there. That's what that is. That you're not trying to diminish this craft, you're trying to enhance it. And that's exactly what these molds do. So that's all part of education. You know, if we have tour in the factory, we're going to talk about those things. Yeah, it's not wood, doesn't look as cool, but actually you're getting this really awesome cigar out of it. So there's lots of things that are happening within the industry that to me is a really good thing. You know, a lot of things are evolving, you know, whether it's from the what is it called? I was just talking about the machine earlier.
Like the press?
No, the Drawmaster.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard about the Drawmaster, but that's how you test the airflow, the draw of your cigars, right? You stick it in a Drawmaster and it tells you on a gauge like how the draw is. Well, there's new machines out there now that are smaller, more compact, and actually give you more data. Is that a good thing, or do you want it to be? Or is the beauty in some cigars not being perfect? You know, you got to weigh those options. To me, I think it would be great to use something that's more advanced that gives you all this data, because then there's not a loss. There's not customers complaining because their draw is too tight. You know, no, it's not the traditional way of figuring out a draw, but you know, if we can produce a perfect cigar, in my opinion, every single time, then great. You know, so these are things that we're looking into just to further enhance the Dissident experience.
Yeah, and the same is true in whiskey production. They're used to they'd test the whiskey out of the low wines and the high wines box in the distillery by taste, and then later on technology evolved, and now it's evolved to the point where they have a digital readout. They stick it down in there, press a button, it sucks it up in there, and it gives you a digital readout to the 100th place decimal point, you know, exact reading for proof whenever it's coming out. So that right there, you know, helps adjust your whiskey quality, whereas this Drawmaster is no doubt going to help adjust your draw quality on the cigars. So that's, you know, why not use the technology if it's there? It doesn't make sense not to. Yeah.
And it just speaks more to quality control over craftsmanship. The craftsmanship is still there. What you're talking about is more of a quality control thing, which just enhances the experience for the cigar buyer. So
Absolutely.
I think, why not take advantage of technology when, you know, I would probably have a deferring opinion if we got into just away from the craftsmanship and went to, you know, robots and machines making cigars. But as long as we, you know, the craftsmanship, but use the technology for quality control, I mean, why not? I mean, that makes all the sense.
100%.
Yeah, if it's not hand rolled, that's a big struggle for me. Like that takes away the beauty of it.
And I mean, jobs also.
But yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Part of the cigar culture is keeping locals employed, you know, and they're the true masters here. They're the ones that know this craft. They're artisans, and we have to make sure that they stay employed. We can't replace them with machines. That's never going to happen. I don't think anybody in this industry would ever even allow it to happen.
Yeah,
well, it's also a loss of tradition, right? It's a loss of tradition. It would be the same as in I know firsthand of a whiskey distillery that was, and I won't name them, but they were as of 3-4 years ago working on building a completely automated distillery on the same site as where they had their manned distillery, and both were going to run in conjunction with one another, but that's a first step into losing that craftsmanship, and the same would be true with losing that tradition, right? Something that's been done for hundreds of years by human hands. It would be the same thing with the cigar, you know, that would be a shame to lose that for sure.
And I'm all for slaughtering sacred cows for any reason in any industry, but also there's certain things that are important traditionally, and you know, the craftsmanship is absolutely the peak of that in terms of this industry.
I mean, like, if you steered away from that, like, what are you doing using a country for something and then not using the people? You know, to me, like, there's a level of respect there. You know, these people know what they're doing. It's generations in. You know, they've taught their children, their grandchildren this craft that has to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
this,
I'm sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
I was going to say this past summer, Paul flew down to Florida. We went to J.C. Newman down in Ybor City, Tampa area. And the first area you go into is their machine rolled cigar area, which those machines are cool as hell. But then you start thinking like the next couple rooms is the person that's actually looking at all the leaves and make sure they're good. The next one after that is the small room that they're deveining the leaves, and the one after that is the actual rollers. And I'm like, I would rather see that part, because as much as that machine, it's just going nonstop. Like it's going off. Like me and Paul got video of it, or at least I do. I think he does. It's going like 100 miles an hour, and it's cool to see. But I'd rather sit there and watch one person take like 30 minutes to roll this thing. And they were sitting there, they were rolling it, had headphones in, listening to music, talking to us, smoking at the same time. Like those guys are insane, those rollers.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's all mostly Cubans, correct? That have learned that trade
Yeah.
and have come to Florida. So you're essentially taking away. I mean, not to shit on that company, you know what I mean? But we have to keep that tradition alive, whether it's Cubans doing it or Nicaraguans or Hondurans or people in Dominican Republic. It has to stay alive. We can't lose that charm.
Yeah.
The reason why cigars are what they are.
And what's crazy is I don't think people really realize that, like, in a factory that has 3 or 4 tables, you can churn out 30K cigars a month out of a factory that size. Those people are working; they know what's up. So and
Yeah,
and
their
I don't
fingers are
think,
stained. Their fingers are literally turned brown from the like that. They're definitely working. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
and that's a solid ass number of cigars. You know what I mean? Like for a lot of companies, 30K cigars a year is their year, which is that's a great number for a small company. Like if you're pushing 30K cigars a year into the States, that's huge. So, just a few tables can do that. So, those individuals, it's not like they're not putting out numbers, because they're on the scoreboard for sure.
So we've been talking about all these big brands. If there's someone that came up to you guys, or a store owner that came up to you guys, and that's all they smoke, they only smoke the Padrones or the J.C. Newmans or whatever, how do you turn them on to Dissident? Like what cigar do you give them to start out on the Dissident train?
For me, it would either be the Plasmatic or the Heretic. Those are definitely top sellers, but to me, it's not about the cigar as much as it is the story and why it's boutique and where that tobacco comes from and why it's important to stay boutique. So they understand the difference between a large company and a boutique company, because there's nothing wrong with a large company by any means. They're large for a reason. They're wonderful cigars, but they're just two different categories. So it's about, in my opinion, educating people on why boutique cigars are what they are and the difference between that. So yeah, I'd hand them one of those and just be like, sit down for a minute. Let me tell you about this,
Yeah, for me, if I had to do it, I'd get all nerdy about it, and I'd be like, well, what are you smoking, or what do you prefer to smoke? And then you get into the, like, what type of coffee, how do you take your coffee, are you drinking, Guinness, or are you drinking fucking Bud Light, or where are you at in that world? Like, all those things kind of are a good tell in terms of what I would recommend for a cigar. Not saying that her approach is wrong. But, if you go into a lounge, that's often kind of the approach they'll take as well.
Hopefully not Bud Light, because that is garbage beer. I don't care what anybody says. It's disgusting.
I have never had it, actually. Not ever in my life. No.
Well, you grew up in Milwaukee, right? Or I'm sorry, in Michigan, right? Is that what I heard earlier?
I actually grew up. She grew up in the Detroit area. I actually grew up in central Iowa, which is like Busch Light.
All I know is neither of you have a southern accent, and when I talk, I sound like cornbread, and I can hear it. So you don't sound like me. That's all I need to know. But it's I don't know, Bud Light. If I go for one of those in that wheelhouse, I'm going for a Coors Light, and it's not even because I like it. It's because of the one that I hate the least that's in that range. But they're all pretty terrible. Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, they're all pretty much terrible. So
The OG Banquet from Coors I can do.
There you go. There you go. I can dig that.
Banquet.
Or a Miller High Life. I can get down with one of those.
That you can get here.
Oh, can't really. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for purposes of smoking a cigar, I'm going to look more at a Guinness. I'm going to look more at a something darker, something heavier, or I'm just going to say fuck it and go with a whiskey. That more than likely, I'm going to say fuck it and go with the whiskey.
That makes more sense.
I have too much whiskey.
What do you guys like to pair? What do you guys like to pair with? Are you wine, coffee, whiskey? What do you like to pair?
Coffee.
We're going to sit on the porch and smoke a cigar and have a beverage. What's your
it's usually whiskey or coffee. Like coffee, there's just something about coffee and cigars. Yeah. Like as long as it's not too peppery of a cigar, they usually always go so good with coffee in the morning.
You guys have awesome coffee down there, no doubt.
That's the same thing. Yeah. You guys get better coffee than we do.
Like you've got coffee that nobody like. You've got that. What was it? What they say in Friday? Next Friday, the 2005 coffee. Like the. You know what I mean? Like the future coffee too. Yeah. You know, you've got coffee.
Yeah.
The only one that topped Nicaragua for me was when I went to Colombia. That shit knocked me on my ass. Like I ordered a coffee and I was like, this is mud. Like this is. I was blown away by their coffee. I was like, tone it down a notch. But another thing I learned about Colombia too that I had no idea is like a lot of cocaine is legal in Colombia. I had no idea. So like we were walking in these stores and I'm like, why do these coffee bags say like coca and coffee on them? I couldn't figure it out. It's because they're fucking mixed with coke.
I'm booking.
That's a hell of a combination.
Booking a plane ticket to Colombia right now.
And those stores are everywhere. It took me so long to figure out what I was even looking at and that it was legal. I had no idea. I felt like this innocent little child that like was just like, can I take this? Like we should buy a bag of this and take it. And my friend's like, no, that's cocaine in there. I was like, oh yeah, we probably can't take that through the immigration. You're right. That's a bad idea.
I don't know. It sounds kind of fantastic. It's been some years since I've been down that road, but if it's legal, when in Rome,
I've never
at least one of those.
Maybe I did in Colombia. Now that's why I was like, this coffee's crazy.
Yeah.
At least one of those products is going to wake you up.
Yeah. Yeah. For 6 days.
Also, like, super on time for everything and like hyper cleaning up the Airbnb while they're there. Like, I don't know what it is, but
that's how you make sure when you get a hotel there, at least that's how you make sure your room is very, very clean. You give the cleaning lady a bag of coffee and cocaine, and every day you can walk in there and eat, something off the carpet if you want to, or off the bathroom floor. That shit is spit shined. It is pristine.
And it only took 15 minutes.
That's right. No, that's the slow one. That's the slow one.
No. He's talking 15 minutes for the whole hotel.
Oh yeah. Well, for the whole well, that's crazy. But you guys have good coffee down there, so you guys could really tell us a thing or two about pairing a cigar with a good coffee. I'm sure things that we know nothing about because we can't.
I've been doing like hot tea, like the last the last week or two, like a hot fruit tea, which is not my usual go-to when I'm smoking a cigar, but for some reason lately it's just been cooler here. It's like rainy season right now, so that's what I've been having at night. And man, it's so damn good to pair up, especially with like a medium or lighter cigar, because it starts. My fucking shit doesn't work, so like I have to have like super notes of fruits and things, so that the notes in the tea that I can taste, like with a lighter cigar, they definitely blend real nice. So that works out for me. It might be too much for all you normies out there with your good taste buds and stuff, but for me, it's like perfect.
I'll cook dinner and he'll be like, man, this is really good. What did you do to it? I'm like, it's salt, Josh. I put salt.
So, on that note, I mean, I have trouble with notes from whiskey and cigars. Sometimes I get them. Sometimes, I mean, I get something, right? I get, or at least it reminds me of a thing, and so that in my head, that must be what it is. But I also have a deviated septum, and I've got 90% blockage on my left side here. So of course that's going to affect my olfactory senses and my ability to taste and smell. So do you by chance have a deviated septum also?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Way up here. It's way in the back. So yeah.
That might be your issue as it is mine. Like when we do this every week, right? And we'll get some of the same things. But Jerry, Paul, do you guys have a deviated septum?
I don't think so.
Well, I'll be damned. So they pick up on shit that I don't get sometimes, and but we pretty much always
get that. You also get that like savory pasta.
I do, but I'm
me and Paul don't.
Some shit's all fucked up over here, so man, who the fuck knows?
But that's so important, though. That's something I talk about all the time because I think when we get so involved in the tasting notes and we're like, oh, this is a water chestnut and a mango from whatever, you may be picking up on that. But the other person may not, because if they've never had a water chestnut, they're gonna be like, well, I taste this thing, but I can't put my finger on it. So it's really important to get, an average consumer's opinion on it. Someone with a deviated septum, because that is the majority of the cigar industry. It's people sitting in lounges just smoking cigars. Sure. And if they're being told, oh, well, yeah, you're going to pick up on cayenne and this and that, that might be intimidating to them and make them feel stupid. Like, man, why the fuck can't I pick up on this shit? You don't have to. It's totally fine. If you like that cigar, smoke the cigar. Pick up on whatever you pick up on. That's what's important to you, Right. So yeah, I go on and on about that, but
I think that's probably why I prefer strong flavors, which would be, high proof whiskey, rare steak, dark cigars, black coffee, those types of things. And I think that probably has something to do with it. I've got to get this. I don't even know how they fix it. I guess I know. I'm just pretending like I don't because it sounds horrible. But I'm going to have it fixed because I can't fucking breathe. I can't. And I've got sleep apnea on top of that. So this up here and this back here, it's all fucked up. And, who the hell knows what's going to happen. But I need to get it fixed so that I can experience the world as was intended whenever I was born, because I was not born with a 90% blockage on my left side. That comes from fighting, but not from controlled fighting, martial arts and things like that, but from being punched in the nose too many damn times. But it's all fucked up. So I wonder if that might also be why you're not getting some of the notes, Josh, that Cynn is getting, and maybe Joshua. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But that might be part of the reason. So maybe I need to look into that down the road for myself at least.
Yeah, it's been an issue for me for as long as I can remember, and even food, like she was saying, I can't imagine what they taste, because when and by they I mean my family, because they're all amazing cooks, and the kids will bring shit out that's better than any restaurant ever, and it's great, and I can taste so much, and it's just like I can't imagine the flavor bomb that like real people actually taste. And if I cook something, it's either this is the most bland shit I've ever had, or this is so insert whatever thing I super overdid, pepper, garlic, whatever, and it's so that thing. And for me, it's like, yeah, it's exactly that thing. That's what I'm fucking trying to do here. So I feel like if I blended a cigar, it'd be like that tasted like a cigar, pretty cigar-y, like there was smoke there. But or it'd be the other side, it'd be like, I can't ever smoke that again because it was so like strong and overpowering with something very specific. So I blended one cigar, and I mean, I guess it was fine, but I don't know that a lot of other people smoked it. So
I was about to say, can we get a limited run of your blended cigars?
Without pipe tobacco. Without pipe tobacco.
No, none of that.
And you already have the name Deviated Septum. That is a badass.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you guys come down, we'll give you fucking once around, let you check everything out, and then we'll do a short run of those cigars for you so you can check them out.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if the world needs them.
The tasting notes on it would be like duck foot, leather boot, and
Right.
ceiling fan dust.
Yeah, right.
Or just be good cigar. That's the tasting note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tobacco.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. It's just a thumb up. That's it.
What is it?
We have to name it that. I feel like it's like beer brand beer. It's just white label said cigar. That's it. It's like, well, why is it called that? Well, that's just what it is. It's sure is a fucking cigar.
Yeah, like the Kelseys in the football world, they have a beer now called Garage Beer, and it's like perfect. That's
Do they really?
exactly what you're buying.
Yep.
I did not know that.
What was
That's
that
the way to do
whiskey?
it, though. Like, maybe we do need to do that. Dissident Cigar.
Yep.
What is it? Is it High West that has those crazy tasting notes on their whiskeys?
High West.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's High West.
They
Yeah.
have
With white chalk, sea foam, and
Oh my
Blue
God.
Lego.
tasting notes. Not scents,
Yeah.
tasting notes. It's weird.
Notes of the inside of a gun holster. Like
Yeah,
all kinds of
they're-
weird ass shit.
And it's not like a 2 or 3 liner. It's like a whole paragraph of all this stuff. And like a gun holster that was just fired. It was a 9mm from this, and it's just like,
That's
how are you
awesome.
coming up with this? Like it's great. It makes you want to buy it so you can taste it. Be like, all right, I maybe I see it, but at the same time, like I kind of want to know exactly like what you're getting out of it. Like I don't want to but yeah,
I
it's
love
fun
it.
reading it.
He'd be really good at that because the other industry he works in is the firearm industry. So he knows everything about firearms, and he could be like, oh, this tastes like carbon, and like just put those in the tasting notes. Freshly fired 9mm.
Which, talking about that, I just sent these guys a sample of a beard oil I just picked up, and the scent profile is bourbon and spent brass.
Oh, nice.
So
can
I
get
just
down
smelt
with
it
that.
as I was pouring them into the sample bottles. I haven't actually used that one yet, but I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it smells good, but I don't know if I want that like all up in here.
Yeah. Well, we had when we were working with Beard Octane, mine was vanilla, tobacco, and bourbon, right?
Mhm.
And hers was
Cherry,
like a cherry,
bourbon, and vanilla. I think.
and tobacco.
Oh, something. Yeah,
But-
I think they both had tobacco in
And
them.
like to me, they're the best
She's like,
smelling
can't
shit
even open
ever.
it.
Like I still love them. Like, but I like vanilla because well, if you can't smell shit, you can always smell vanilla, right?
He's all about vanilla
Sure.
and cleaning products.
Right.
He's like, what's that smell in the room? I'm like, Lysol, Josh. I just use Lysol on the ground.
So if you ever meet me in person and are wondering why I smell so fresh and clean, it's because I don't need cologne. I just spray myself with Lysol and other
There you go.
I have all these essential oils because I'm like big on like natural cures and stuff. And so like sometimes like if I have a stomach ache, I'll pull out a certain essential oil or like Digize or something.
Yeah,
I'll be
always
like,
dumb dude.
What's that smell? And I'm like, it's this. And he's like, oh god,
That's
so
so
good.
good.
I'm like, okay, buddy.
I didn't know that you guys had done anything with Beard Octane, so that's we're an affiliate of theirs. So they've got some good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
We try to focus on veteran-owned companies for a lot of what we do, anyways. Especially within the beard industry, there's so many veterans that have owned or started beard product companies. So we really try to hit those hard. But Beard Octane, I really like what they have done. We've gotten. I got a sampler from them. I got several products from them. They're really good. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
They're great
we
people.
actually he reached out to us when he first started like 6 years ago, and he was still doing it in his home and everything. And he was like, "Hey, I want to create these for you guys." And and then we watched the evolution of him, and like,
He's killing it.
I mean, now he has like a whole warehouse and this whole like huge production system. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to see when you're able to get in it in the beginning and watch them grow and progress and just be so successful, and that is definitely Joe.
Yeah.
He's done phenomenal.
And he was almost overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
like I remember years ago, I first heard about him, and he had a couple cents, and it was, I when I first started growing the beard, I was like, all right, there's one company, I love them, I'm going to stick with them. And I started like kind of trying to figure out other companies, and his popped up, but it was like a real small one. I was like, I'll try this other one. And then like, seems like 3-4 years later, next thing you know, he has like 500 different scent profiles and this and that. And that's when we had we tried the product on the show, and I was like, maybe I should have jumped on it 5 years ago when I originally saw him. But
we need to get him on the show. We haven't.
I didn't know anything. No.
Well, have you heard of Dan C. Bearded? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of his stuff was his success started because of Dan C. Bearded. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is Dan C. Bearded was actually my son's teacher when he first started his YouTube channel. Small world. So we actually did a podcast with Dan C. Bearded like 6 years ago. And he's like, dude, you got to try this stuff from Joe, Beard Octane, this and that. And that's how that got started. We got connected with him at Beard Octane. And then Dan C. Bearded exploded. So he was able to quit his teaching job and then just do that. And it was like that same time frame where it just exploded for everybody.
He was the reason why I heard about him in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I don't know, when I first started growing any kind of facial hair, it seemed like every other week I was like shaving something off. I would just have like a mustache or just have this or just have side. Every week I was changing it up, and I was like, all right, I get bored. I don't want to shave no more. So I started looking online about I had a buddy, you got to try beard oil. It's going to take away the itch. It's going to make it look better, healthier, and all that good stuff. So I started doing a bunch of research and going online and YouTube and whatever, and his popped up, and it's just like, all right, you got to try this stuff. You got to try this stuff. And so I started kind of going down the line of what he was reviewing and promoting at the time. And that's how I found out about Beard Octane originally. But like I said, I was stuck with one brand, and I was like, I know these guys are good. They've been working. It was Badass Beard Care. We had them on. Well, not them, but we had their product on. And then I eventually tried them, and then we had eventually tried Beard Octane, and introduced the brother-in-law to him, and that's what he just retired from the Army last year, I think, and started growing a beard, and that's what he's been using almost nonstop. So, yeah, we definitely probably should reach out to him to get him on, because
for sure, yeah. I'll do that in a second. Actually,
you should fucking have Dan on too, because even though he's not product centric, he knows literally everything about fucking beards, and he can talk about all the products and all the things and all the brands for give a ton of great insight. I would definitely recommend reaching out to him. But what's interesting for me is, and when I went on Dan's show,
which was at his house because we lived in the same city, it was the weirdest thing. But
what's crazy is I'm the guy that just has a beard. Right? I wasn't the dude that's about beards and beard homies and beard villains and all this shit people are. And nothing against any of that. It's just wasn't. I just had a beard. I just don't like the fact that I don't have a chin. So this makes it so I look tough and not like a dumbass. So, or tougher.
He calls himself a turtle without a shell if he doesn't have a beard.
It's true. It's true. It's fucking nasty. You guys have all seen the memes where you shave it and it's just from the nose down in your throat. That's me. And so, but so I never really did anything with it. I just grow it when it started getting thin. I, trim it to where it wasn't thin, and that's my beard life, and it still is. But what's crazy is now being down here, the environment's so different and harsh. The extremes are pretty crazy. And I don't know, I guess I noticed differences in my beard to some degree, but for the most part, it's always pretty hydrated because it's humid here. It's not, but I'm sure there's things I could or should be doing, but environment wise, I know guys that are just like, well, I live in northern Minnesota and it's dry as shit in the winter, so I have to hydrate the shit out of my beard. I'm like, I didn't know that mattered. I still don't know if that shit matters. Maybe it doesn't matter. Fuck, I don't know.
So, well, the amount of cigars he smokes too, like the bottom will start turning like the yellow, and I'm like, you need a purple shampoo. And so he got into purple shampoos to make it the gray color. But yeah, he never really got into the products because he didn't understand them. He was just like, I just have a beard. I don't know. But yeah, it was because of Dancy Bearded that he learned everything that he did, and then Beard Octane and all that. And we are also really big on veteran stuff as well. Like I spent 8 years as a military wife. I was at Fort Hood for many of those years, actually. It's like you get to Fort Hood, you're stuck at Fort Hood. But yeah, so we like to service the military community as well. So
for sure.
My wife actually turned me on to the idea of purple shampoo. I had no idea what the fuck it was. And she would say something about purple shampoo, and I said, What are you talking about? And she would say the shampoo, it's purple. It's in the shower. It's in a purple bottle, and when you squeeze it out, it's purple. And I have no reason to use it, obviously. I mean, I'm not dyeing my beard, and I have no hair. So, but she showed it to me. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought maybe it was a brand or just something that I had no idea that purple shampoo existed until I got married. So that's definitely a lady thing. I gotta say, and I can't say I blame him for having to be turned on to it. It's a fucking. I wouldn't know to use that for the yellowing of my beard. Right. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of it down here and sometimes through here, but I just keep it all trimmed up as best I can. I need to probably lop off a good, I don't know, 2 inch, something like that off this right now, but whatever.
What's funny is, Nicaraguans typically can't grow beards. They just don't have much body hair at all. So whenever he's in town, like people will be like, Senor Barba, or they'll be like Santa Claus, Yeah. But one time we were driving through the big city here, it's Managua, and we're just driving down the road and we hear Osama bin Laden. And we're like,
that's fucking great.
But let's not go down that road.
I was like, did he really just say what I think he said? And Josh was like, yeah.
What's weird is I was wearing a turban too at the time. Just kidding. There was no turban.
I was in Jerry. What's the name of the? It's a fort there in northern Florida where they built it to keep out the pirates. What's it? Is that St. Pete?
Are you talking about St. Augustine?
St. Augustine. There we go.
Yeah.
So I was there with my wife a few years ago, and they have street performers out there dressed as pirates and doing their whole spiel. And I was paying zero attention, but my ear clued in whenever I heard him go, "You, Blackbeard!" And I looked over and he's standing there pointing at me like this, and I was like, "That's fucking hilarious. That was great. I've never been called Osama bin Laden. My beard's not as long as yours or Paul. In fact, mine reaches terminal length at about here, so I've got about another inch or so because I just trimmed off an inch because I'm trying to get the rest of this to match what actually grows. Generally, what grows down here is what's growing off of my neck, and it looks ridiculous because it's thin. Like you can see, like if I've got a tattoo on my chest here, and usually you can see the tattoo behind the hair because it's so damn thin down here. It looks awful. So I'll trim it off in hopes that the rest of this will magically. But this is about as long as it grows for me. And I want that. I want to be able to braid it into my chest pubes. That's what I want, and I can't.
Same. Sucks. Like for me, it's always basically the typical T-shirt graphic height.
Yeah.
So, like, if I can start to see too much of my T-shirt through it, then it's time. That's why I know it's like it's basically time to trim this. That's how right. I know. And I'll get it up above that, and because I have like. I don't know. Everything I wear is gray or black, and of course the graphics are usually white. So it's like, fuck. But when this all gets completely white, I'll probably just buy white shirts, and it won't fucking matter, right? I'll just let it go.
Right. But, well, when I wear black shirts, generally you can't I'm wearing t-shirts, but I'm at home and I'm not going anywhere right now. So, but generally you can't really tell when I wear just an all black shirt unless it has a graphic on it underneath. And that's generally where I can tell, because the graphic you can see it as if I had no hair on my face. And it just pisses me off. But I'm like Jerry, where for a long time I'm born in '83, so in the early 2000s, I'm listening to a lot. I don't know what kind of music you guys listen to, but I'm listening to a lot of Static X at that time. And so Wayne Static, he had the long sideburns and the goatee, and I'm doing my hair like Wayne Static, and I've got the goatee and the fucking sideburns, and then eventually I'm just like, you know what, fuck this shit. I don't want to shave anymore. So I stopped, and my children's mother, she always wanted me to shave it, and that didn't work out for a lot of reasons that we won't get into. But my wife, who's the only woman I've ever been married to, the only woman I would ever, look at as marriage material, and she told me that she wanted me to grow it out for our wedding. And she has told me since that she wouldn't find me as attractive without my beard, and that I'm not allowed to let it get short anymore either. So I have, a pass from the most important person in the world to just fucking let it go. So that's great. I don't ever have to use a razor on my face ever again.
Same. Never will. Thankfully, she's never even seen me like shaved down ever. Like old photos, but never in person, which is
my wife is the same. Yeah,
But I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Iceland, and I was there for a totally different non-tourist reason, and I wasn't thinking about like where I was at, and that's like prime Viking country, right? So, I have people talking to me in some language that I can't speak, and I'm like, I don't speak that, and they're like, then they'd switch to English, and they'd be like, oh, like what clan are you with? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And eventually, like, and I'm not a big guy. Like, people assume that I'm like 6'5" and like huge, and I'm not. I'm 5'6". I'm a little guy. So I was just like, why do you think I am some sort of Viking? Apparently, a beard is the only like Nordic requirement for being a Viking, because I don't know that I would pillage much. I feel like I could try, but I can't reach the top of doorways. So we got a problem if I'm full on pillaging.
I would say
I'm about the same size as you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, he's leaving out a vital part. He was actually working with the band Slayer, so he was around other guys that also looked like this.
I guess that could be right.
I think that's part of it. He's with these, like, scary-looking guys that all kind of look similar.
That could be it. It wasn't all me.
So you're about Carrie's size, right? He's not very big. He's about 5'8", 5'9", right?
Yeah, he's like 5'8", 5'9", yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'7", right? So I'm not a whole lot bigger. I've got an inch on you maybe on a good day if I'm wearing the right shoes. I'm probably if we're not wearing shoes, we're about the same height. Honestly.
Yeah, probably not, because that actually makes me like 5'5", actually.
Okay, well, maybe an inch. Maybe an inch. So I get that, but Vikings were actually not these giants that people perceive them to be through history. They were actually smaller. So that's got something to. I don't know about the beards. They probably had the beards and the long hair because it was fucking cold, right?
Right.
And I can trace my family history back through Norway. But that doesn't mean shit, except that I can say that my family were Vikings at some point. But I'm bigger than the fuck they were, right? I'm bigger than that. I can look down on them probably, according to what it is the accepted story now. So maybe they know that that's exactly what it is. That you got the beard. You clearly work out, so. Even though you're a shorter dude, they're like Viking man.
Yeah, maybe so. Short and wide is all it takes, apparently. But my my family history of being fucking Scotsman doesn't really, that's so much less cool.
Well, so that plays into that history because the Vikings actually invaded those islands way back when. So, my last name is Scottish, but it plays back through Scotland into Norway, which were Vikings. So that plays into it as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe some crazy fucking Scandinavian badass ended up impregnating some Scottish woman, and here I am.
Just go with that. You got that fucking that insane beard. Just go with it, man. Just go with it.
Yeah. Just make up my own fucking family.
That's
history.
right.
Till someone looks up fucking 23andMe or some shit.
Oh.
Really figures it out. They figure out that I come from a long line of fucking gnomish people from the Northern Highlands.
You can't so I will tell you this. This is from having done 2 different DNA tests. I did 23andMe and I did Ancestry.com, and they showed different things.
Mm-hmm.
They showed very different things. So 23andMe, I have trace ancestry Cypriot from Cyprus, and then trace ancestry from the Levant. So it doesn't even say whether it's like Jewish or Palestinian or whatever. It just says Levantine. So ancestry has none of that. It doesn't say anything about Cyprus. It doesn't say anything about the Levant, period. So who the fuck knows what's really accurate and what isn't? I don't. How do you know? You got to take like 3 or 4 of these motherfuckers, and they're $100 each. Like I can't sit here and take $500 worth of DNA tests to figure out what kind of mutt I am. But just go with the most likely. So the Viking whose family settled Scotland. There you go. That's it.
That's the coolest one.
It's pretty cool.
I suppose so. I can only trust my grandparents, right? They gave me the brief history before they passed, and that's all I really know.
There you go.
So, fun little fact about the St. Augustine story Adam did. A buddy of mine is one of the pirate. Well, I don't know if he's the pirate that said anything, but he's a pirate down there. He does a bunch of mascots and whatever. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. He does a bunch of he doesn't do the Jaguars, but all like the minor league team mascots. He's that. And apparently he does pirates and all that stuff too. But that was just a little fun fact. But going back to
cool shit down there, St. Augustine is cool shit, man.
It is.
That fort is awesome. The history is awesome. There's
just a lot of people.
And
I don't like people that much.
When I went there, it's same. But when I went, it was not during the tourist season or during Daytona, because I went to Daytona and we stopped at St. Augustine on our way back to Kentucky, and there weren't a lot of tourists. But so that was cool because it wasn't crowded as hell. But we went to a true British, I'm using quotations around, I should use it around true as well, pub. It was in a house and it was tucked away back in this neighborhood situation. The worst Pepsi I've ever had in my life. It was absolutely disgusting. It was.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember the name though.
Yeah, there was no carbonation. They just gave you the mixture mixed with some type of water. It was awful.
Yeah. Have you ever been
to Britain?
To Britain or to the
I've
UK
never been out of the country, unfortunately.
Okay, because that explains a lot.
Canada.
Their food is the worst food I've ever had ever.
I want to. I'm a father of 4, and they're all in the home right now. So I don't have money for shit. But I would like to one day. But it's just so our oldest is 17, our youngest is 11. And I don't have money for a damn thing because they're all involved in something that requires money. But one day, like I said, I've seen Canada recently. I was in Niagara Falls a few weeks ago, and I saw Canada on the other side. That's the closest I've ever been to another country, is being able to see it.
She'll be in London doing a lounge tour, so she'll get to experience the fucking top tier Londoners food. The only
Toast
thing
and
I can ever
beans.
recommend. Yeah, well, it's the fucking the meat pie. That was the only great thing when I was there. Was that, and I'm like, okay, well, if this is anything, if it's better than those frozen ass like banquet pot pies you get at the local store, then it's a win. And it was a zillion times better than that.
Okay.
Literally every other meal that I had, because I didn't have like American burgers or anything, because I'm in another country, they were all absolute turds of meals. And it was not impressive in any way at all when it came to the culinary experience there. But I'm curious to her, because like for me, like it could have been awesome and had a ton of flavor, but it tasted like somebody handed me the same thing on a plate, no matter what it looked like. It was just bland ass shit with a different texture.
No, I've been to London. It's the worst. It's the worst place I've ever been to. It's a horrible place to go. They don't want you to be there as Americans. They don't like you, and so right when you open your mouth, they're just you're not welcome. And everything's expensive. It's always raining. The only color there is gray. The food is gray. The beer is warm. I hated it. The history is phenomenal. Like the history is awesome. Go to Tower Bridge.
Yeah.
Go see the Crown Jewels. All that stuff. The history was the only saving part of the trip is seeing the history and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wish I would have packed like fucking MREs or something, because it's horrible.
Yeah. When I went, thankfully, I knew locals, so I got to experience Camden and like everywhere the Sex Pistols were, where Iron Maiden started, like all the things, right? All the spots that I care about as a music guy, plus is like the guy that likes serial killer documentaries and shit. We got to see the original Scotland Yard, go to the sites where Jack the Ripper took the lives of these women, and like all this cool stuff with an actual detective, which was even cooler. And like I got to experience all that, so that made it worth it. In her case, I think it'll be fucking awesome because she'll be there with a local, doing cigar stuff. So that'll be like top tier experience for sure.
Yeah, my uncle lived out there for, I think it was 4 years. His company sent him out there, so the whole family lived out there. And Paul basically, they were just like, "Why the hell are you out there?" And of course, the 4th of July's they were out there. They were out there, like the whole little community they were in were all like his company. They were shooting all fireworks for 4th of July and everything. The outskirts were just like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Like, you do realize they're like, "Yeah, we do realize what we're doing."
Right. Yeah, you're shitting on everything that is the British culture. That's what you're doing.
So they were shooting shit off left and right, and he would send me videos, whatever. And of course, it's like 5-6 hours ahead of us, and so it's like 2 a.m, 4 a.m. I'm just like trying to sleep, dude.
Right.
Well, I just want to I want to interject here real quick, because I just had an Amazon package delivered. And the gentleman that was bringing it to the door asked, "Do you want me to set it down out there? You want me to bring it in there?" And I said, "You can bring it on in here." And he brought it in. And as he did so, he said, "I was just watching you guys in the truck out here."
Hey,
that's cool.
Awesome.
That's you do have this streaming on live, right, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that's pretty fucking cool. Nice guy. He said, "Hey, the hell, I'm about to pull up a chair and just sit down here and listen to you guys." I said, "Come on, man." But that's pretty awesome. So I want to give a shout out to that gentleman. I don't know what his name was. He didn't give it, and I didn't ask. But that's pretty damn cool.
That is cool.
And then my wife wants to know what the name of those puppies are, because they are running crazy behind you guys.
I was curious as well.
Honestly, you
So
guys were having a conversation. I like spaced out and I was watching them play on the bed there for a minute. So there was like a good 2 minutes that I have no idea what we were talking about, and I was just watching them. I was having a great time.
Solid excuse.
We're such big animal people. Like, we let them sleep. We have like an extra bed right here, just so that we have a king size bed with another bed at the end, because we let them sleep in bed with us, because they were street dogs, so we want to give them good lives.
Awesome.
And So the one you can see on the bed right now, he's kind of blocked by Josh, but that's Blue,
The little guy.
little girl. Yeah, she's actually full grown. She's like 2 years old. And then this is Salem right here. She was a street dog since she was a puppy, and she actually had distemper while she was on the streets and somehow survived. But it messed her brain up a little bit, so she's pretty like handicapped mentally. So she has a lot of issues. She's scared of people and certain things. We gotta like just watch her because her brain doesn't register like when she's playing that she's got to go easy. And so sometimes when she's playing with Blue, she's like, "Ooh, out for blood," and she just goes crazy with her. So we got to calm her down a little bit. But then the other dog was Story, and she was a street dog, and she got hit by a car and was actually in the street after being hit for what we heard was like up to a week, and she couldn't walk. And by the time we got her, her legs were already kind of healing, so we couldn't do anything with her legs. But they
Her hips
healed.
were shattered.
Yeah, so
Still.
she actually we've had her for almost 2 years, and she needs a surgery, but we've been putting it off because so far she can still poop, but the way her legs healed, her femur is going into like towards her spine, so we have to have it like shaved off a little bit. But right now she's like running and she's happy, so we're trying to kind of avoid that surgery because she won't be able to move for a while, and we don't want to take that away from her until it's like definitely time to do the surgery. And then I don't know if Charlie was up here. I didn't see her. She's a blonde dog. She was a street dog as a puppy that was thrown away,
Literally in the trash.
Yeah, with her litter mates. And so we just had a dog at the time, a big European Doberman, and he actually didn't pass away at that point. Yeah, but anyway, we got her, and that was Jake's little buddy, and then Jake passed away, and then we got Salem, and then acquired 2 more dogs.
And it's worth saying that Charlie looks. If you just saw her, like if I sent you guys a picture without her legs in it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's obviously a yellow lab, like obviously." And she's like almost yellow lab sized. But then you see her legs, and they're like this long. They're like a corgi. It's the weirdest fucking shit. Like you'll never see another dog like that. And I get why they dock their tails, because her tail's like a fucking battering ram. And she shattered her shoulder as a puppy, and we had to get pins put in there. And here they don't have, you can't just fucking order that shit up and get pins. So legit, these things were like steel rods. They just cut down, like literally cut, and cut her open, drilled in, connected it all. And as she was getting better, she was running and stuff, and they started wearing through her skin. So she had 2 steel rods hanging out of her legs. She just fucking run and play and not give a shit. And we finally had those yanked out. They put her down and literally grabbed it with vice grips and pulled it out. Fucking crazy.
This is third world here.
But what's insane?
She's a goddamn soldier.
They all are, truly.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is like the vet care. Like if you want like an X-ray, you gotta find the place, right? That's got an X-ray machine, and when you find it, you take them there. Then you take that shit to the vet.
And that X-ray machine's from like 1970. Right. No joke.
But like to get her from like beginning to end, surgery to full heal, like $600. In the States, that's like $3,500 just to get seen and get that surgery. You know what I mean? So while it sucks in some ways, there's massive, and it's that way truly with the medical stuff here too, which, we still pay, and it's cash. But with our family, we've had major medical shit since we've been here. If we were in the States,
we'd be broke.
I'd never fucking pay anything for anything ever again that wasn't to a hospital, because we'd be millions in debt right now. So it's definitely crazy. Like medical tourism down here, dentistry tourism and shit is a real thing here because of that reason. You can get top tier care for nothing. You need a fucking what's it called that Tam had, root canal, $500. Just call them. They'll be like, yeah, come in tomorrow afternoon. It's not like
I don't even think it was 500. I think it was less than that. But yeah, medical tourism is a big deal here because you get good care at the private places for a fraction of what you pay in the U.S.
And the cool thing is it's like, it's not like you're like, okay, well, I got this test And they're like, okay, we'll call you in 4 months when we connect with all these people and your insurance and let you know what the next thing is. And then, in that 4 months, you're like dying. And then they're like, well, we got you approved for this. It's like, well, you need something way more because you're fucking almost dead now. And so we're going to have to wait 4 more months to do the next thing. Here, it's like, okay, this is the issue. Go across the hall and tell that guy that this is the shit that's wrong with you on that paper, and he'll do the next thing. And then before you're done, 3 hours, 4 hours, it's like, okay, this is what the fuck's wrong with me, and this is when I get surgery, Thursday. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I ruptured my bicep and detached it from
Ouch, fuck.
down here. And it was 3 weeks before they could get me in for an MRI. And after that, it had already started to fucking heal to the tissue down here that it was next to, right? And so I had that MRI on a Wednesday, and by Friday I was scheduled for surgery, thankfully. But fucking 3 weeks. 3 weeks went. But I've torn both my ACLs in the last few years as well. And I did that on a Monday on both nights, and by Wednesday I was in for my MRI, and by Thursday I was scheduled for my surgery. My bicep was a different situation. That's what I'm saying, is that that's awesome that they're just like, go across the hall, talk to that guy over there. I'm still a firm believer that this, I know there are other great countries out there, and I'm not going to discount them, but I'm a firm believer that America is the greatest country, but our healthcare system, there's a lot that can be fucking revamped and redone, and just, I mean, we talked about veterans earlier. That's a big thing for me. I've got a buddy out there. I talked about this on our last episode. I'm gonna talk about it now. He was in the military. He's in the Army for 22 years, and they're trying to fuck him out of his retirement right now. Like, why? Like that those are the people that we should be taking care of first before anybody else, as far as the government subsidies and taking care of and whatever. The veterans are the ones that we should be taking care of first. And for 22 years he was in, and now they're trying to fuck him out of it because of he's on disability as well. What the fuck? No, that's absolutely not. Absolutely not. Disability shouldn't factor into whether or not you get your retirement.
Right.
From 22 years of service. Absolutely not. 22 years of service would be fully funded retirement at any other job that has retirement funding.
Right.
What the fuck? There's no reason for it.
What's crazy is if you were to take, if Nicaragua had this large group of veterans, they'd have houses and everything. I mean, like they started building a coastal highway here, so they had to knock down a bunch of houses. They just built a whole neighborhood for these people that lost their houses. So now there's a whole new neighborhood, and all these people have homes. And there's not a homeless problem here. How can that be when you live in a third world country? You know what I mean? That tells you a lot about
exactly right. Yeah.
System.
And what's crazy though is to that end, in-home does mean something much different than the States. You know what I mean? You're not getting Amazon packages. You probably have electricity, but you also probably have dirt floors, but you do have a nice structure around you. You're not going to get shit on. But there are people here that live in, that shanties basically is the best way to describe it. They're living happy lives.
Yeah.
They live on their farms and they're doing their shit. And back to the medical care, I do want to bring this up. What else is super cool about it is when she had surgery after we first got here, the surgeon, no shit, he's like, well, just text me tomorrow, let me know how she is after we got home. And he's like, if you have issues, just shoot me a text. And I had questions because, my wife, I want to make sure she's all right. I'm a little paranoid. So I text him a question. He'd respond in half an hour and be like, oh yeah, this, don't worry about that. Pay attention to these things. And it's like, where in the States are you going to be able to text your family doctor, let alone your
random surgeon?
So I can say, so I'm born with epilepsy, and I can say that my neurologist actually said to me during a visit, my wife was present for it, and he said, don't bother going through the regular channels, just email me directly. because
Awesome.
we work for the same organization, right? So I work for University of Kentucky. He worked for the University of Kentucky Medical Center, and he's just like so like we're the same email, right?
Yeah.
So same email system. It's like just email me. But that's the only doctor in 42 years of life that I've ever had say anything like that to me. So it is rare. It is rare, and most people are not going to have that experience, like you're saying. So that's really cool. And a surgeon on top of that, like that's a different situation entirely. So that's awesome that they allowed you to
They're all that
do
way.
that. They gave you that number.
In any avenue of medicine here, they're all that way. Like our daughter she's allergic to everything, and her doctor was just like, yeah, text me, like send me pictures of
Her poop.
Yeah, of her shit. If something's weird, send me a photo of that shit. Like I need to see it, and then I'll tell you. And it's like in the States, it'd be like, wire me $80, and then I'll respond to your text if you did that. Excuse me.
But I will say though, a lot of that care, we do have to drive 2.5 hours north to get that. So if there was a medical emergency in our town where we live, like if he were to have a heart attack, that's a different story. Like I would have to do a lot of work on him and get him in the truck and drive 2.5 hours and hope and pray that he would actually make it to the hospital. So that's the one downside, is all that good medical care is 2.5 hours north of us.
So, going back to the cigars real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
No. Like I said, we go on tangents and we have no issue. Like, we just want to make it like we're sitting at a lounge, just kind of bullshit with each other, sort of deal. But I just finished the block. There's a little bit left. I just kind of put it out because I was burning my fingers. Fantastic smoke from beginning to end. For me, it was there were some chocolate notes in there. There was a almost like a pecan or pecan, however you want to say it, or walnut. Like there was a nuttiness in there, but it was like a like one of those sweet nuttiness that you would get from the pecan or the walnut. And then the final third, the spice ramped up just a little bit, like nothing like the soapbox, but it ramped up. And that block is a fantastic cigar.
Nice.
Definitely went. I haven't. I've sampled the cigar sessions once. So every Saturday here in Jacksonville, we do a bottle share, different bars and locations around with our group. And I was able to sample it. I think it was like 2-3 months ago, probably when it first hit Jacksonville. But this was also after I've had like 3 or 4 other pours, so I couldn't tell you what it tasted like. So this is basically the first time I'm actually sitting down with it. And I'm going to have to sit down with this pour this week and try to figure it out. But it went great with like there was definitely some nice flavors coming out of it that the first sip of the whiskey I was getting whatever, and then you put the cigar with it and it was nice contrast and some other flavors were popping up. So yeah, that block is definitely a fantastic cigar. Although that size, that's the first time I probably should have looked it up to see what the size was a little different, because I'm used to like a Toro or a Gordo or double Robusto or something like that. This is a little bit of thinner ring gauge, so it's kind of a little bit
long.
First time I smoked something. Good.
Was it long?
Was it the Lonsdale?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that Lonsdale is a little different. You're going to get a lot of wrapper taste out of that, which is why the Heretic, which we mentioned, is a Churchill, which is similar to that, and you get a lot of wrapper. And it's a help me, is it Candela, the barber pole? It's a barber pole, so it's got.
It's just Maduro with the Habano barber pole.
Okay, so it's a little. It's got a lot of flavor in that, but I'll talk her up.
It definitely felt a little weird holding it, because I'm used to something like a 54 or a 60 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic smoke. Paul, what are you smoking?
I ripped through the soapbox already about a half an hour ago, which was fantastic, and so I lit up the block, and I'm ripping through this one right now too. This one's fantastic. I really like this one. I think
I really like
the soapbox was great, but I think I like this one a little bit better, and it's hilarious because my tasting notes were black pepper. I was getting a lot of spiciness in the first third, and walnut and chocolate. And he just fucking said the same exact things. That's why I was laughing and shaking my head because
wait until that final third, because that I was getting a little bit of spice that first third or so, first half.
Yeah, it was like
but
a nice.
That final third, it ramps up and it's real nice.
Yeah, no, that black pepper spiciness I love to get out of a cigar, and right off the first puff, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great." And then there was that like walnut shell or walnut, nutty taste that's just fantastic. And I'm flipping through some different, mini pours to try. I like to pair with different things to see what goes the best. And I have a Texas TX bourbon, and it has like cherry notes in it, and it's perfect with this walnut chocolate notes I'm getting from the cigar. I mean, anytime I smoke a block, I think I'm going to have to go back to this, or like an Old Forester, which is a whiskey. I get a lot of cherry notes, but it just plays so nice with the walnut and the chocolate undertones that I get out of this block. I'm digging this cigar big time.
That's awesome.
We have that's good to know, because from her home state of Michigan, we have, what is that? Black cherry bounce. Cherry bounce is from Mammoth.
Mammoth Distillery in Traverse City.
And that.
I was going to say Traverse City has.
Yeah,
Traverse City has that cherry whiskey or cherry, whatever you want to call it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, cherry bounce. That's what we have.
They have cherry bounce and an actual cherry whiskey as well. Yeah, but we went there and got a couple bottles of that.
But I've never tried a block with it. Like I don't drink a ton. Like very rarely. I get immediate headaches almost always, so I have to really pay attention. But I'll have to try a block with a little tiny bit of that just to see.
That's this one. It's
wow. Nice.
It's getting. I don't really get. Normally, Texas whiskeys for me are hit or miss, but that's a fantastic one, and I get this undertone of cherry note, and with the nutty, chocolatey flavors on the block, it's like perfect. I poured it again. I've been bouncing through different bottles, different styles of whiskey with each cigar, to try to see what I think. With the soapbox, I think a straight rye was my favorite. I just poured a Sazerac.
I think
just a baby Saz. And that was.
I think when I smoked this soapbox the first time, it was with. I think it was with a Starlight rye.
Yeah, I just had a baby Saz that I tried at the very end of the cigar, and I think that rye was real nice with that, because I was getting baking spices, and like I kept getting nutmeg for some reason off of the cigar, and the rye spice was perfect. But with the block, something fruity I think is. Like, I have a brandy around here somewhere. I might try a brandy next with this block before I'm done with it to see how that goes.
It's not fruity, but this cigar sessions, it's not fruity, but it definitely has a lot of characteristics of a light whiskey. That sweetness from it definitely works out well.
I'll toot her horn a bit about that whiskey, because like a lot of the reviews and other things, right? People that don't understand, like, because you can just say cigar whiskey, right? Put it on the fucking label and pair it. I mean, you can do that with the Texas whiskey you're talking about. Now that you know you should call this a cigar whiskey because it's good with it. But this was specifically blended with cigars. It was never tasted without it. So what they created, her and Lee, is something so unique and different, because it was blended by people who blend their cigars for that process, I guess. And I'm always curious to hear what people say, because there are people like, this doesn't taste like a cigar at all. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because, and okay, maybe Penelope could have done better with the marketing to help people understand it's not supposed to taste
like a cigar.
Right.
But, I think it'll be interesting as more of those roll out, because that's kind of made for medium-bodied stuff. It's got to cover up more ground,
and there's no finish on that, because
that's go ahead. I was going to say, I remember drinking it now, and I remember that's one of the things I remember the first time is there's the mouthfeel on this whiskey is incredible. The flavors are incredible, but the finish it sits there for a second and then dies out. And I remember that, and it's for me, I like a whiskey that has a nice long finish. It just kind of sit there with one glass for like an hour or whatever. But sometimes that finish hinders the cigar experience.
Yep.
So with
that,
this
and
one,
that was intentional. So
you kind of get like the whiskey, and then it dies down. You pick up the cigar, you smoke it, and you get that, and then it's a nice little balance between them.
Yep. Yeah. That on its own, I mean, it's good on its own, but we absolutely blended it with cigars. Like we sat there with like 15 cigars in front of us and just went down the line of all these bourbons and whiskeys. And that was ultimately the winner. And what's crazy is, you know, on its own, it doesn't have that finish, but when you smoke it with the right cigar, it all just like melds together. And all of a sudden you have all these flavors in your mouth. So that was something that was hard to explain in the marketing, that this was blended for cigar smokers. So if you drink it on its own, it's good, but you might be like, it's a little weird. This doesn't have this or this. Well, yeah, it's not, because it was actually blended to be smoked with a cigar. So,
and it took 2 damn years to give you guys an idea. This wasn't like just do some shit and call it good. I mean, between everybody involved, it was a lot of A, B, C, D drams of testing different blends, and then sometimes putting those together, and then having, you know, these cigars and narrowing it down, and then getting the next set of A, B, C based on our previous feedback, and then ultimately all meeting up in Vegas and saying, okay, real time, this is where we're at, and this is what we think is best, and getting it to that step by step. And then it was like, bam, this is it. It's this one. And that's kind of how that all went down.
So what I'm really interested in is how in the hell did I get my hands on a bottle of this?
I might be able to find one of them.
Oh, well, Jerry might be able to find one. I'm sorry?
Sharedpour.com. I know they have it.
Okay.
But other than that, it's luck of the draw, going into your local stores and seeing if they have it in there.
So
I'm pretty sure that Shared Pour does actually have the balls to ship to me. Steelbox does not. They're
if not, let me know. The store I found this at had 2 left on the shelf when I picked this one up.
Okay, so I don't see anything as far as on their menu under whiskey. There's no Penelope, period. So although there is a Penelope graphic, that's just
Shared Pour, you have to actually search what they have.
Make it easy for me, Shared Pour.
Well, they do a lot of like single barrels. So
all right, so which one is it now?
It's the Penelope Cigar Sessions Chapter 1.
I see it, and that is an exceptionally reasonable price.
What do they have it for? I'm just curious.
$100.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one was, I think it was $79.99 in the store.
Yeah, that's the MSRP on it too. So that's the minimum you can find it for.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a bunch of like mules that are trying to sell it for like $300 out there.
Oh yeah, that secondary.
Jerry, if I'm gonna leave this in my cart, and if you're able to make it happen for $20 cheaper, plus shipping, let me know, and I would very much appreciate that. If not, I will have this in my cart for Shared Pour.
We'll talk after this or on text, and I'll
I said nothing illegal, FBI. Nothing illegal was said just now.
We will drive and meet somewhere in the middle and hand it off personally.
All within the same state.
Yeah, that's right. I will drive to Florida, and Jerry will hand this to me at his home.
No, we'll meet at the store. You will purchase it yourself.
We'll meet at the store. Okay, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, there's a couple. I think there's a few of, because it's a store owned by one family, but they have, I want to say it's like 8 or 9 different stores throughout Jacksonville. That being said, you could drive an hour and a half and still be in Jacksonville. So for those that don't know the area, that's how it is.
Yeah, I can't drive an hour and a half to Jacksonville, but I will make the trip.
I'm on the west side, and I still have probably a good 15-20 minutes west of me before I'm out of Jacksonville, and it takes me about damn near an hour to get to the beaches on the east side. So Yeah, they got about 8 or so, if not more, stores. And there's a couple stores that no one really goes to, or they go to, but they don't go for whiskey. They go for more like the vodka around the college campuses sort of deal. Like I said, this store had 2 left after I grabbed this one. So maybe after work tomorrow, I'll make a trek over there and see.
On the whiskey side, what's interesting about living in a foreign country is we have a duty-free shop here in town, and there's a lot of things that you can only get at duty-free that aren't available to like stateside. You have to get them at duty-free. So I always encourage people like come here and buy, like, drop $1,000 and take it back and sell it for $2,000, because
Right.
I mean, there's some Macallan here because I like Macallan.
Yep.
And she was kind enough for Father's Day to pick me up, a couple different things. Of course, now I can't remember the Lumina and something else. And I mean, they weren't cheap. They're like $300. And here, they're $300, and you can only get them here. So in the States, I mean, you can easily double that for people that want it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
But it's pretty cool to have access to that stuff if you're into it. Even my buddy Ryan, like I mentioned earlier, he stays here several months out of the year, and he'll go to the duty free to get Buffalo Trace because he has a hard time finding it in Iowa. Cracks me up. It's like go to fucking Nicaragua and buy a Buffalo Trace.
Well, it's funny that you would mention that because that was actually a question I was going to ask you. Was what do you prefer to drink, and what do you have access to? And maybe even outside of the duty free in your average liquor store there in your area, as far as bourbons go, what makes its way down to Nicaragua?
Well, for the past couple of years now, it's just been a lot of Penelope stuff because we were going through so much of what they were sending for us to sample and figure out.
Sure.
And then a lot of it is just stuff that people have gifted us because people that fly here, they know that we have limited access to stuff. So it's a lot of times what people gift us. And our friends Rob and Tam, who I mentioned earlier, that have a distillery, they'll bring some of their stuff. When we first acquired Dissident, one of the first things we released was a Dissident bourbon. So we had quite a few bottles of that. I'm trying to think of some weird ones.
But here, there's a VAT 51 or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's what's the red label? It's like, all I can think of is Johnny Walker because it's a guy's name. And it's in the square bottle. Yeah, it tastes a lot like
It is
Jack.
Johnny Walker.
No, it's not, because it's not Johnny Walker, because that'd be way too expensive. Because it's
Oh
super
no, it replicates like it tastes very similar to Jack Daniels. I can't think of the name of it,
but not like those are the main two you can get here, non-duty free, and then otherwise it's mostly like a lot of rums and tequila because we're in rum and tequila country.
Sure, sure.
Florida Cagna is made here, so that's like the shit. Like you can get 50-year Florida Cagna here for like $40. Where I don't know what it is in the States, but otherwise, tequilas, some tequilas, not high-end sipping tequilas per se, but not like Clase Azul or like, because we love that, but it's like I don't know.
That one in that it's like rounded on the top. I can't think of
that's
the name.
Dobel.
No,
Clase Azul with the bell.
No.
I don't know that.
It's like a squarish bottle, but it's rounded on top. That one's everywhere here. I can't think of the name of that tequila.
I don't know. But yeah, it's mostly that stuff. Whiskey is, even if you bring up whiskey here, most people are like, I've never had it. Like, I don't know really what it's about. Like,
wow. Okay.
So it's pretty rare. But ron coca, that's called a Nica Libre here. If you rum and coke, and like that's what it is. That's the shit. It's everywhere. So you can't go anywhere without that. And beers, Tonya, and what's the other one? Victoria. Those are the two beers here.
Okay.
And Tonya is like you gotta slam it when it's like ice cold, otherwise it's total piss. And Victoria is a thicker beer, and they even have a Tonya Light for the record. It's fucking terrible. But they have a Victoria that's fine, and then they have a Victoria Dark that I actually like. It's not Guinness Dark, but it's dark, and that's pretty good. But otherwise,
I cook with it a lot.
yeah, most of that stuff leaves a lot to be desired unless you like rum, and then you can get
Victoria.
I do like rum. I do like rum.
Victoria is made by Modelo, which Adam was drinking when we started this thing.
I'm still drinking it because I've been drinking whiskey too.
Yeah, because I know that I go to Costa Rica once a year to go fishing, and Victoria is a beer we get down there in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Where do you go in Costa Rica to fish?
What's the name of the coast now? The place we fly. The place we
You
fish
fly
out
to
of.
San Jose?
Yeah, we fly into San Jose, and then there's this like community that we stay in that we fish out of. I can't think of the name of it now. It's like really high end. We stay like on the outskirts of it.
Is it on the Pacific side?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And they just started developing it even more with like all these luxury homes and stuff. It's like just south of like Playa Flamingo or something like that.
Yeah.
If you ever want a cheap but still awesome fishing trip, just cross the border, come see us. We're about 40 minutes from the border. We can set you up with some charters.
Lots of charters here.
They're not going to cost shit, and you can fish whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, we pay like $4,000, I think,
Dude,
for a boat to go out 30 miles out with 8
Oh my
or
God.
10 of us.
You
It's
will not
expensive.
pay that here.
Yeah.
You
It's
will
nice.
not.
It's a nice boat, but it's still it's pricey.
Oh,
Yeah.
they have a nice boat here too. I don't think you will be paying
yeah.
that.
But if you want a real fucking experience, we'll hook you up with a
Panga.
local, throw you out on a panga,
Yeah.
and you'll fucking buzz out there, and you'll do some real shit, dude.
Yeah, I might have to talk to my buddies and maybe we'll switch it up. See some.
Truly, like we can hook you up with a nice Airbnb here, and we'll meet up with you one night for dinner and a fucking cigar and all that. But you can do the same fishing. I mean, it's the same coast. You can do the same fishing for a ton fucking less.
Yeah, well, I would imagine. Yeah, it's definitely everything else there is cheap, but it's very pricey for the fishing that we've been doing for the last couple of years. And I've always kind of thought about that. Like we could probably find something cheaper, but I mean these boats have 3 bedrooms, air conditioning.
Oh wow.
We wake up hungover and just sleep for 3 hours while they stroll us out 30 miles and everything. So I mean
Nice.
it's worth it, but it's
This would be different.
Yeah,
This would be a different experience for sure.
yeah.
But it's awesome because the culture here is way. I mean, Costa Rican culture is similar in a lot of ways, but it's also America light, especially when you get into San Jose. We were just in San Jose the first time, my son and I, to see Exodus last week, and it was a great fucking show. But like everything about it, I was just like, man, I'm ready to go home because this is America light. Like we ate at Taco Bell. Like, give me a break.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is next time Adam hurts himself, we all fly down there. He gets his surgery. We go to the factory or the fields or whatever.
Yeah.
We hang out for a little bit, then we go fishing the next day.
Give me a little bit of credit, Jerry. I'm not entirely made of dusty rubber bands, just the ones that have snapped already. Okay, so we can figure out another reason, maybe to go see Exodus. That would be. Okay. Exodus played Louder Than Life, and I was there a few weeks ago, and they're fucking loud as shit. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. By the way, they're still at their age, still fucking loud as shit. But I think we can figure out a different reason other than me needing some fucking emergency surgery to head down. Maybe these two fine folks right here sitting in front of us, we go down and see their operation and hang out with them, and maybe take if I can get one down there, a good bottle of bourbon that they've never had before. Perhaps an OCD number 5 cigar batch that we might be able to get down there. That would be pretty
Sounds
cool.
perfect to me.
And you can get some cocaine coffee too while you're there.
That's farther south. That's Colombia.
I don't know why we're still talking. Why wouldn't that be the reason I would go? I thought that went without saying at this point.
Well, you would have to leave here. You'd have to fly here, spend a few days, then fly to Colombia, then go to the States because you can't do it in reverse unless you have all sorts of vaccines.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much effort. I'll just come and hang out with y'all and not worry about going to Colombia.
I'm sure if you ask the right questions to the right people, you can get whatever you want.
Oh, just
Yeah,
go to the beach.
I don't need any of that. Look, like I said, that was a long time ago. I don't need any of that madness again in my lifetime. I'm good. I'm 42. I'm beyond that point of my life where it's either who you are or not something you do anymore. And I'm in that not something you do anymore phase of my life. I'm good on
Well,
that.
if you come down, we can hook you up with a good tattoo artist too, because there's several awesome artists here. And
You
they'll
know what?
tattoo you, look into the ocean on your balcony, and you can just fucking have a cigar and a whiskey while you're getting it.
That'd be fucking amazing. My last tattoo was a little over a year ago. It was the one on my head, this big son of a bitch right here. 6 hours worth of sitting there, and she's got some on her crown here. I don't know if you have any on your head at all, but it is excruciating. I have one over here, a whiskey jug on this side, with the X's.
Yeah, nice.
And then this big bastard back here, which is a memorial tattoo for a friend of mine that was a tattoo artist, passed away last December, and it was done by a mutual friend of ours. So it was extra special, but that shit hurt. And I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have a minute. No, actually, my last tattoo was a skull on my leg, but I was just like, I'm just gonna take a minute and relax off the tattoos just for a second. My wife nearly cried when I came home with this massive thing on my head. But I would like to have something done from folks that had. I'd like to go to Japan and have a tattoo done there. I'd like to, go south of the border and have a tattoo done there, and I'd like to have it done in the traditional styles where they're using a snake fang and a stick to tap that shit into your fucking skin, and all those things. So, which I'm sorry.
I have that on my leg. She used a stick and literally just tapped it into my leg.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have the more modern styles of tattooing in Nicaragua, and that would be very cool. That'd be very cool.
Her whole throat, her leg, she just got her stomach fully done. So there's a lot of great tattoo artists here. Not something I would have expected, but man, they're fucking awesome. There's several awesome artists down here. I probably have gotten none. I got the kids' names. That's the only thing I've gotten here. And
really?
And at a bar
how long now?
What's that?
How long have you guys been in Nicaragua?
5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And you've gotten nothing done in 5. So I've gotten 2 tattoos or 3 tattoos done in the last 5 years, but you've gotten nothing done by any of the incredible artists that have worked on her while you're in Nicaragua yet.
I haven't.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Getting all the stuff. Honestly,
I got this done here. I got this done here. I got my stomach done here. I got this whole thing done here.
her whole leg.
My whole right leg done here. The piece on my left leg done here.
And I have gotten the kids' names, all basic black script, nothing, and her name, and that's
literally at a metal counter at a bar.
Getting a tattoo isn't necessarily it's you plan it out, but it's not necessarily something that it has to be something big every time, right? So, eventually it's going to, clearly, I can see your arms there. Clearly it's going to happen at some point. It's not a matter of if or, but when, right?
It's a matter of time. I don't have time.
Exactly.
I don't have room. I have my ribs on both sides. I have a gap about that big from my front and my back. They're both covered. And then I have my butt and my entire outer and back thighs, and that's it. Both my legs, the internal thighs, they're all done. So it's I got shit spots, and I'd like to do the top and front of my head and the back of my head, but that shit fucking hurts. And I'm 5 years old. Why do I want to fucking do that?
Let me tell you. I've been getting tattoos since I was 18 years old. Like I said, I'm 42. I've got one on my spine. I've got at the base of my spine, I should say. Both my arms. I've got them all up and down my legs, my ribs, everything. My fucking head hurt. Like that's the only time I've ever nearly come off the table.
She didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I have a giant head one right here that you can't see, but that one to me did not hurt as bad as my stomach. My stomach and ribs, I was like,
my ribs hurt too. I've got a big Darth Vader over my heart on my ribs, and I've got a leg lamp from A Christmas Story on the side right here, and both of those hurt like a motherfucker. But my head back here, and this guy doesn't have a particularly heavy hand. He's just, and he did it with a rotary machine, even not even a coil. So
all my shit's rotary. I've never had anything. I like this new shit that's quiet. Like that takes.
Oh no, that's the rotary machine. That's the rotary machine. So the coil's the one that makes the fucking buzzing like a bee.
Right. That's all I've ever had is the coil, the electric. Dude, like that's been like if I would not have had that in my life, it would have been 50% better every time. I think the sound makes it all hurt worse.
Well, I need the sound. I've been getting tattooed long enough that it's like I said, for what 18 to 42, so that's 24 years of getting tattooed. I need that sound because it's present. It's there. It's part of the experience. It's something that I expect. And so it's weird for me whenever they use a rotary machine because I don't know how far along they are. I can time the size of the tattoo based on what the artist tells me by the buzzing. Right. I can't do that with the rotary because it's like pulling up next to a fucking electric car. You can't hear the goddamn thing, and it's fucking weird. It's like watching Minority Report. It's just fucking like shit's fucking strange. And so the same is true with anything electric as far as tattoo machines and things like that. So the rotary machines, I don't like them. I don't like them. I wish they wouldn't use them. I understand why they do, but I wish they wouldn't.
See, I'm over it. I'm the opposite. Anything that can take the pain. I earned my shit all for like 250 hours already. I
get that.
More. Just if they could just like rub that shit on and I have it, I'd be like, yeah, I did that way. And you can tell me that I'm a pussy if you want, but sit for 250 hours under the other shit and then tell me. Don't tell me now.
Yeah, no, I mean, pussy wasn't a word that I had in my thought process right now, but at the same time, I understand where you're coming from 100%. If they could just press it on, it's there forever, right? Because then there's less room for mistake. There's less room for error, like I'm mistake putting on the stencil or error drawing the line straight or anything like that. Like it's there for sure, and I completely understand where you're coming from, and the pain is not there. But at the same time, as far as rotary versus coil, I need that sound. That's all there is to it. So yeah,
not me.
Yeah. But fair enough.
And the amount of time that I've watched her get tattooed at this point, like she takes it like such a champ. For me to lay down for like a 6 or 8 hour piece again, she'd be like, "Who did I fucking marry? Like what the fuck?" Because I don't think I've gotten a massive piece since we've been together. I had a huge Johnny Rotten tattoo on my thigh when I was in Portland just for 24 hours. I drove there from a speaking gig in Canada, got it done, and jumped on a plane the next morning. And like that was fine, right? Like, but that was my inner thigh. Anything else that I have left, I feel like, yeah, she'd be like, "Who did I marry? I thought this guy was fucking tough at least."
I can speak to the thigh tattoo. It's awful. I have one that's a double cover of an original that I did. And because at the time I wanted to be a tattoo artist, but what do you do but practice on yourself? So I tattooed a star on my thigh, and then I went over that with a wizard that turned out really terrible. And then I went over that with a it's a baby inside an eyeball, and the eyeball is supposed to be the female reproductive organs that are gestating this child, and it looks horrible. And the only thing that I can do with it is get it blacked out because there's literally nothing else. It's so bad and so big and so dark. There's nothing I can do with it. And I did all of that on myself. And I did the baby and eyeball part with a what they call it's 15 Magnum, so it's 7
Yeah,
across and 8 below. And I did that digging, and it was awful. It was because I was having to do that to myself, and it's massive. Absolutely horrible experience. I do not recommend that to anyone. That's probably the worst tattoo experience that I have, but that was me doing it to myself. So,
that ain't for me.
do what?
I said that ain't for me, man. That's all you.
No, don't. Yeah, that's not me either anymore. That's one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. Absolutely terrible. It's horrible.
So, keeping on the tattoo thing, you guys are obviously fully covered. What are the your guys' most meaningful tattoo that you guys got?
Huh.
You could step out and go to the mirror if you need to turn around and look around.
Right.
Probably my cat. We used to have a naked cat, and he's tattooed on my hand. So probably that one. And he unexpectedly died, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And I actually had this before he even passed away because he was my little guy. But yeah, so now it's awesome that I got it done because he lived a short life, and now I have him on my hand forever.
For me, I don't know, man. Like probably the dots I have on my forehead. I've had since I was 19 years old. And of course, my dad's like, tattoo whatever you want. Just don't go below your elbows and never do your hands, neck, and face. I was like, okay. So 19, I get my face tattooed. And I already have my growth. But probably those because they're kind of my identity. They represent your body, your mind, and your environment. The three things that kind of make us who we are. And it allows me to look in the mirror every day and be like, don't be a fuckhead because this is who you are. You have to represent those things and have that shit aligned. So it's a reminder. But I also have be kind tattooed on this side of my head, which you can't really see that well today. And that's just a great reminder to not be an asshole and always serve others and be good to people. So, and I guess the PMA on this side too, because positive mental attitude is pretty important. So I guess anything I can look at straight up is a big deal to me, I guess, because everything else, I guess I don't even see anymore.
You have my name on you.
I do. Yep. I have her name here. So I guess that's kind of a big
That's
deal.
meaningful.
Yeah, I do. I have Josh's name. Fucker.
I guess this little thing over here.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's like everything that I have is like 20 years old, mostly. So it's hard to remember.
So I want to go back to the Penelope time again. How did they reach out? That was like, how was that all about? Did they just kind of did they have? It's going to sound bad. Were you and the guys over at Stolen Thrones? Was that like the first, like their first pick, or did they kind of like step it through?
Yeah, it's because they have a guy. His name is Donnie, who represents Penelope, and he happened to be a huge fan of Dissident and Stolen Throne. And Penelope wasn't even looking to do. It wasn't even on their radar to do a cigar blend, but Donnie kept pushing it. He's like, we really need to do a cigar blend. We really need to do a cigar blend. I know 2 people who are perfect for this. And so we jumped on a phone call basically with Danny and Mike, and they're like, fuck yeah, let's do this. They were really happy with myself and with Lee, and they realized that, we were really educated in cigars, and obviously we already drank bourbon and whiskey and everything. So yeah, that's how that got started, was because of Donnie. He really pushed for it, and they agreed, and then it exploded. And so now they want to do multiple. We'll see where that goes and how that plays out. But yeah, we have a huge corporate meeting coming up to discuss the next steps on what we're going to create and what that's going to look like. So it's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, it'd kind of interesting to find whether it goes this first one, that second one, or if it goes 5 or 6. What do they call them? Sessions. It'll be kind of cool down the road to see how they evolve through it. How did the blending process go? Like, did you and Lee have completely different ideas of going into it, or was it fairly consistent?
We went into it kind of with open minds, like, and I didn't realize that with Lee, because when they first sent us samples to go through and blend and everything, it was separate. So they sent Lee his batch and then myself my batch. And then they were the same. They were all the same A, B, C, D. So I smoked through all of our cigars and he did his, and we all took notes, and then we had a meeting. And what was crazy to me was that everything we had to say was so similar. There was nothing where Donnie was like, not Donnie, sorry, Lee was like, I disagree. There was nothing like that. Like for like, say, sample A, I was like, I picked up these notes. It went really well with these cigars. I would say no to B because it just completely muted out like every cigar. And Lee's notes were like almost identical to that. So it worked out so well. And then a year later, when we met up in Vegas with Danny and Michael and the whole team from Penelope, even in person, going through all that, we still had the same things that we were saying. And I distinctly remember Danny sitting on the ground with all his little test tubes of all these different bourbons, because he was like, how in the world would American light whiskey and these things go with a cigar? He wasn't understanding because he's not a cigar smoker. And he's like, well, what if I mix it with this? And Lee and I tried it, and we're like, smoking our cigars, and we're like, no. And he would try to alter things, and we're like, no, it's doing that to this cigar and this to that cigar. And he's like, really? And we're like, yeah. And so he was just like mind blown, because it proved that it didn't matter. Like, there was no bias, basically. Like, if we smoked a medium cigar with these specific notes, it worked the same with Lee as it did for me with whatever cigars I was smoking. So it proved a lot of points, and it proved to Penelope that we knew what we were talking about, and they knew to just step back and let experts in the cigar realm do what we need to do. And then they brought in their expertise on the bourbon side. So that's how that worked out. And it was a very cool experience, because neither of us knew what we were walking into. We obviously, I have my own thing and Lee has his own thing. And just the way it worked so seamlessly was awesome. And that's why this is a project that's going to continue, because it was such a success.
And credit to Penelope for letting them kind of have carte blanche.
They just handed us the keys.
It's got to be like this.
It.
They didn't. They're like,
sounds like
this
fun.
is what's happening. Do your shit the way you do it.
Yeah.
Make it great. And I can't go on record saying this. She probably can't say it, but I can. That it was one of the fastest selling and highest volume bottles they've ever released.
Oh, there was a ton of hype behind it when the label got approved through the TTB. It shot out around the whiskey Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, the universe, and people were flipping out about it. Obviously, over the last, I don't know, a couple years, cigar blends themselves have gone crazy, and a lot of them are just, I hate to say it, not good. Nancy Fraley over at Joseph Magnus, she based it off of the how they blend Calvados and Armagnac and whatever over there, and they don't do any finishes to it. But unfortunately, the whiskeys she had, she couldn't get it the right way, so she had them finished it or whatever. I want to say this Penelope and who was it? Still Austin out of Texas, I think to my knowledge, are the first two cigar batches, blends, whatever you want to call them, that aren't finished. And they're both fantastic. Like, I like a good finished whiskey, but at the same time, if you could take different mash bills, different types of whiskey, and throw them together and make this fantastic product that works well with almost any cigar, I don't need those port finishes or the sherry finishes or whatever. And sometimes those finishes take away from the cigar. They're too sweet or too overpowering. So when I saw this one get posted, and it was just a blend of bourbon, American single malt, and a light whiskey, I was like, I need to try it eventually. I didn't know how distribution was going to be, but it ended up hitting around here. Somehow stuck around the shelves for, I don't know how long it's been out now, but like I said, I was able to pick this one up. They had 2 or 3 others on the shelf, so I'm thoroughly happy I picked this up. It's going great. I ended up lighting up the rant afterwards, and the rant's a little bit of a darker cigar than the block, and it's still going well with it.
Nice.
So be nice to get my hands on number 2 whenever it comes out.
Yeah, what's funny is, Penelope is so used to doing very limited runs. And so when they told us the amount of cases, we were like, you guys are just going to blow through this. Like, there's no way. And they're like, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you don't understand the cigar world. Like, this is a whole new thing you're tapping into. Like, you guys have got to, like, up your numbers. They upped them slightly. And then, like I said, you couldn't even get it. It was sold out. So, like, within days, there was even like a pre-market somehow. Yep. And so they ended up doing another round. I can't remember how many more, but yeah, they were like, you're right. And like, so when we had our meeting after all was said and done, they were like, we can't believe this. And Lee and I were like, we told you guys, like, this is a whole different market. It's going to sell out. There's no way it won't, because people in the cigar industry are looking for bourbons that pair well, so we proved everything that we said for the past 2 years. So they're nothing but stoked about it.
Those original samples they sent you guys, were they already like blended products, or were they just, this is a bourbon, this is a single malt, and wanted to get your guys' basically notes on them?
It was what I believe is a mixture of both. They didn't tell us. We went in completely blind. But from what we know, it was a mixture of both. He had some, like, I know one was the rosé mixed with something else. I don't know if you've had the Penelope rosé. So they did a mixture of that and then just like straight. And they wanted us to figure out, without us having any idea of what was ever in these bottles. And then same with round 2, it was like they didn't tell us anything. So we went in completely blind, which I think was the best thing to do, because there was no bias. We had no idea what we were drinking at all. So, and some of that stuff we still don't know. And I'm pretty confident they do it on purpose, because they don't want us to change our views on anything. They want the absolute best product to go out, regardless of what that is. Because if we know, like, oh, well, this is, a light American whiskey, we already have in our heads what a light American whiskey is and what notes are going to be. So that might sway us a certain way if we already know things about that. But if we're not being told what these things are and if they're blended or anything, we're going in blind, which is the best way to do it.
That's how the 3 of us met, was a old podcast, and their premise was tasting whiskeys, and they ended up getting into rums blind. So it was three guys, and one guy would bring 2 bottles, and they would pour them blind, and they would try to figure out what they were and do their own notes. And then they had this they had a Patreon page where magically a couple samples would show up at your door, and we would sit on a Zoom once a month and do the same thing, like try to figure out what they were, our notes. And there's times where it's like, there's no fucking way that's what the bottle was, because I had it 2 weeks ago and it tasted like complete shit, and now it's my favorite whiskey in the world. So yeah, doing anything blind is probably the best way out there, because I've found some fantastic whiskeys that either I would have overlooked or originally thought was not good just because of the label or what I've heard about it, and it ended up being one of my favorite whiskeys out there. So, and
Paul was always right, by the way. Paul was always, every fucking time that Paul's like, this tastes like this. Yeah, Paul, that's what it is. Again, fucking every time after like the 3rd or 4th hangout, he's fucking, Paul got it right again.
But this was also during COVID and right after COVID, where we all jumped on virtual tastings almost every other day because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
And Paul
Drank too
was
much
the
whiskey
master.
during COVID.
Paul was the master at virtual tastings. I'm pretty sure he was doing like 2 a day for 3 years straight. So
I tell everybody I want another COVID. COVID was the greatest fucking 2 years of my life. It was awesome. You weren't expected to go out. Like people were like, "Hey, you want to go to dinner?" No, can't. COVID.
No.
Like you didn't have to leave your house. You get to, and then everybody ramped up their online and Zoom, like tasting pack. Just every day I'd get a package in the mail of whiskeys to taste and jump online and talk about it with friends and stuff, and you didn't have to leave your house. You didn't have to wear pants. Like COVID was the greatest goddamn era that I've ever lived through, and I want it to happen again. So COVID 21, where you at, man? Where you at?
Hey, fucking during COVID here in Kentucky, liquor stores and things of that ilk were deemed to be essential by our governor, and so you could order a fucking pitcher of goddamn margaritas from a Mexican restaurant, and they'd bring it to your house.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck is that? Or you could carry it out. You could order it there and carry it out, and
like a Chinese food container of like
What the
miso
fuck?
soup, but it was margarita instead. It was fantastic.
oh no,
that was an
Here-
amazing thing. That was an amazing like
So-
silver
That's
lining
how
to
it's here
COVID.
all the time.
Yeah,
Like if I wanted whiskey from the duty free place, they'd bring it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
a thing. So it like always, Well, my family was here a couple years ago. Like nobody had traveled ever really in my family. So coming here was like first time on the plane for a lot of them, like crazy. And
One of them thought they're going to be beheaded coming here.
right. But we ordered pizza one night for everybody, like 11 pizzas or something like that, and it was fucking storming crazy, and they about shit when the guys show up in rain gear on their motorbikes with the fucking 11 pizzas at the top of our mountain. They're just like, are you fucking kidding me? They just fucking cruised up here on their motorbikes with the pizza. I'm like, yeah. So you can get whatever. If you need a live chicken, they'll deliver that shit straight to your door.
That's amazing. That's fucking amazing. I would love to live in a place where I didn't have to go anywhere to get anything. I could just have literally everything. We got DoorDash, but nobody's going to bring you a live chicken. And sometimes you need a live chicken. So that'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing. That was, again, the silver lining to COVID. I enjoyed it very much, Paul. I very much agree with you.
Yeah, I would prefer to work from home and never leave my house ever.
I can relate to that.
My wife and my kid are the only people I need to see in person for the rest of my life.
Because of COVID, I still get to work from home to this day. So that's pretty amazing. But I do very much agree. I enjoy it. It's awesome.
But speaking of traveling, you got the big World Cigar Show coming up, right? That's
November
cool.
7th. Well, I'm flying out there November 7th.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. That's something I would love. That's a big trip though. That's in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's gonna
It'll
that's
be
all her.
interesting. Like, I'm excited for it, but also I'm one of the panelists. I'm actually speaking for one panel and then moderating for another panel. So no pressure. But the one that I'm speaking on was actually pre-recorded because it was myself, Matt Booth, Reinhardt, and Nick Hammond, and that might have been it. But anyway, they aren't going to Dubai, so we had to do like a kind of like this whole thing. So they're going to air it on a giant screen for that panel. But the one that I'm moderating has Christian Iora, Chateau Diadem. Have you ever heard of that brand? Okay, so they're the two people that own that are going to be on it. Thomas Greisen, who works with Oliva, and I don't know who else I'm missing here. But yeah, so it's going to be a whole panel that I have to moderate and ask them questions basically on a certain topic. And So it's going to be crazy. 45 minutes long for each panel, and I think there's 5 panels. So.
But also Dubai. I told her she's got to go to I always call it the Wiz Khalifa, the Burj Khalifa, because like if you get a chance to go to the top of the tallest building in the world, you better do it. You know.
Yeah, they're building something crazy too. It popped in my head because I was reading about it the other day for World Cup. I think they got World Cup 2032 or 34. They're building I think they start construction next year. It's going to be a high-rise building, and the soccer stadium is going to be on the roof of a high-rise.
It's fucking wild.
The art that you like Google it. I think it's like Neom or NEOM or something. It's the group. It's incredible. The art, like the architectural art, that they, drew up to show you what it's going to look like. It's fucking incredible. It's a full World Cup soccer stadium. I think it's like 1,200 feet in the air or something like that. It's on the top of a building, and it looks. I mean, only Saudi Arabia, right? I mean, they make their own islands and everything else. It looks awesome. So.
Wow.
Such a cool country, I'm sure. Have you ever been there? I'm sure that's going to be a fantastic.
No, but I did some research just to make sure I brought I don't dress. I mean, I always dress modestly anyway, but their version of modest is very different. So like you can't wear like spaghetti straps. Everything has to be below the knee, I believe. So they just have certain considerations, especially in malls. Like you can't even take pictures or record or anything. And it's not like a control thing. It's a respect thing. They don't want to have people worry about their picture being taken or anything like that, which is one of the reasons why like Lindsay Lohan, she moved there because of the privacy. So I did some research on that. So I'm just like, I don't know. Hopefully my clothes are okay. I'm like, can I wear a cross? Like, because I'm like, I wear such like all black gothic clothes, and I like have this really nice like crucifix. I'm like, wait a minute, are they like against Christianity there? Like, is that? So I gotta figure that stuff out. I don't know. Like, I need to come back home.
When I saw the World Cigar Show was going to be there, I was like, it's like that cool? Like cigars, like welcome there? Like because it's like you always hear about all these restrictions with alcohol and things like that in countries like that, and I was like, I guess they are a big cigar country. It makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dubai is big on cigars. Yeah.
I mean, it's a luxury thing, right? So
right. I mean, that's what Dubai is. It's luxury, and so I mean, I guess that fits. But you always have that thought. It's like, are you allowed to, bring in cigars and things like that? And
I can't wait to feel so poor there.
Right.
Like, why the fuck is this steak $80? Can I get the French fries, please?
Right. And they'll be 25. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and like just to go like to that hotel that's like that looks like the Sale, that's like a 800-star hotel. Like it's probably 10 grand a night just to fucking get a room.
Crazy.
It's like crazy to think about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Do you know if they're gonna be doing like an online thing for that to watch some of the speakers and stuff or not?
That's a good question.
I was looking on their website when I heard that it was gonna, a couple months ago. I think they announced it was going to be in Dubai, and then when we had you on, I was looking it up, and I didn't see anything on their website to see if there is an online function that we could actually watch from home or not. I mean, I'm sure YouTube will have something after the fact, maybe, but I didn't know if there was kind of a live look-in or something like that.
They really should.
Yeah, I'll have to ask because PCA in the States, it's industry only. So they don't allow the regular consumer in there because there's a lot of stuff that's talked about that keeps it, certain brands like their secret sauce. And I think that this show kind of follows that same thing. So there's a lot of machinery companies that are going to be there. This was originally the World Tobacco Show, which was a separate thing. And then PCA asked if they could be a part of it. So then it was basically 2 separate halls, like conference areas. And then they decided, well, let's just blend this. And so they just made it one giant show. So I'm curious. I'm going to ask and see what their guidelines are on that, if this is like an industry only thing or if they will allow the public to hear the conferences. So
yeah, because a lot of times with stuff like that, if it's not a live, broadcast, at least they'll a week or two later, they'll kind of edit it down or show us what they don't want us not to hear. They'll take that out or something like that, and at least let us watch. Because not everybody has the luxury of just skipping off to Dubai for one day,
Right.
conference,
Yeah, I was only kind of planning on going, and then when PCA asked me if I could speak, I was like, fuck. Okay, I guess I'll go.
Oh yeah, no, you can't turn that down. That's like a once in a lifetime. That's like awesome thing to do, even if it was in like freaking Denver or something. But to do it in Dubai, that's incredible. Like you have
at the World Trade Center, like what a resume thing,
Yeah, that's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. Like, I mean, I feel like everybody in their life has like those moments when you level up and you're going to level up. So you got the nerves and you know all the things that you prepared for, and it's like that luck doesn't exist, right? You're only lucky when you can say yes because you worked yourself into the opportunity, that whole thing. And this is definitely one of those things, I think, for her. She deserves it, obviously. She knows her shit, obviously. But it's one of those things, like, I know for me, when I had a few of those kind of tick marks that happened, I'm just like, you start being like, what am I doing? I don't belong in like, they asked me, like, they got the wrong guy, the wrong number, something's weird, they don't know, they're gonna figure me out, like all the imposter syndrome shit that happens. And then you show up and you fucking slay the place because you prepared your whole life for it, and you just slay it, and you leave and you're like, that's right, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
I earned that. I did that. That's why I'm here. And then, but then, a month later, someone else calls and it's like, fuck, that's bigger. I don't know. Are you sure they got the right number this time? And you do it all over again. And it's just crazy how those things happen in life if you're going for it. And to see her be able to do it, I mean, there's been a ton of those, right? And to watch her continually truly manifest this shit, because I remember a year and a half ago, she's just like, you know what? All this ancillary stuff's happening, so I can't do that right now. So I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it. And then it's like, you never know how you get there. And then suddenly it's like, well, I'll be on stage in Dubai in November. It's like, what the fuck? How did you go from, I got to change my focus to do these things and I'm going to fucking slay it, to I'm fucking slaying it on a world stage. Like, that can't be discounted. You know what I mean?
I remember when PCA asked me, I looked at Josh, I was like, I think I manifested a little too fucking hard.
Yeah, just don't ask questions until you get there.
Right.
Because I'm going. Yes, I say yes. I'll see you there. I'm not going to ask any more questions.
Well, I'll stay stagnant if I don't say yes to things, right? So you just got to throw yourself out there.
Absolutely. No, that's a cool one. Josh, you're going, right?
I am not. No.
Oh, come on. I was hoping we get some food reviews from Saudi Arabia.
I'd be like, it was garlicky and it was perfect. Like, that's all
it tasted like chicken.
Yeah, right. Nah, like, I love to support her. I enjoy travel, not like I used to, but I enjoy it. I did a lot of the things. But today, it's like we have the dogs at home, special needs dog especially, and that creates some issues and my anxiety with that and things like that. It's all like, look, I will end up being more of a detriment than a positive for you. So, and she has kind of a friend / assistant that really kills it for her at things like that. And she won't say this, but I will. Because like in any industry, you have like the people, right? And she's one of those people in the cigar industry that everybody wants to see and get a picture with and talk to, and well-deserved. But that also comes with it like endless seas of people stealing bits of your time. And, you know, a 2-minute, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back, turns into an hour of where the fuck did she go? And she only went 10 foot because people stop her all the time. And so she needs somebody there that will be able to be like, look, you have to be at this place. We have to go. we have to wrap this up. And not being rude, but letting people know, like, she can't be in this spot forever because she has obligations. And I also am not good at that. I'm the guy who will just stand there and bullshit too and not realize that time's passing. So Tam, who goes with her, is amazing at that and keeps her on track with the schedule of things that need done, and basically manages the expectations and the I don't want to say hindrances or hiccups, because people aren't hindrances or hiccups, but you get what I'm saying. Like the distractions from people wanting to stop by and get a photo or whatever. She does a great job of managing their expectations. Like, look, this is great, but she's only got like 2 minutes because we're on our way here and we have to be there at this time. So,
yeah, you need somebody from the outside looking in, because you're going to want to just enjoy it all, suck it all up. You're going to, that it sounds incredible. I would just be like in awe the whole time I was there if I was in your shoes. And so you kind of do need somebody to kind of guide you and be like, let's go. You got this to do, come on.
Yeah. I use her for bigger events like at PCA and TPE and stuff like this. I have her go with me because she's just so good at that. Because if anyone needs to be an asshole, I don't want it to be me when I have to be pulled away. So she's my like little handler that she's just my assistant for stuff like that. So that way I'm always the kind one. And I'm like, okay, I gotta
go. That's an awesome friend to have. That sounds, yeah. And so, but enjoy it. That sounds like it's going to be an awesome, time being there, and just, seeing that city in general, but then being such, a big part of that whole show, which is, like the biggest cigar show, or conference, I should say, not show, but it's going to be cool. Where I'm hoping we'll be able to hear some of the stuff that's talked about that, and I'm hoping we'll be able to catch some online, whether it's live or after the fact or whatever. But it's always those conferences always bring out like news, I should say, like innovation and that kind of thing. So that's a big one, and that'll be a cool one to look forward to. And that's what are you talking, 2 weeks away, something like that?
Yeah, not even. One of the main guys from PCA, he'll actually be here on Sunday with me, so I'll ask him if he knows if it's going to be live or not, because he's actually the one running the whole conference part of it. So, because I have a lot in the works with this guy for future stuff with PCA, so he's coming out here to see some things that we're doing that we can't talk about to get some balls rolling. So yeah, I'll ask him and I'll let you know.
Well, that leads me into probably my last question is, what are some things you can't talk about that you will talk about?
Well, they've hinted at a lot of stuff throughout this show so far.
I will say, like we have farms now, tobacco farms. So we're one of the very few, how do I say it without saying everything? We're one of the very few boutique cigar brands that are basically seed to smoke. I'll say that. There's big brands that aren't even able to do what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. We'll be one of the few at this size that are fully vertically integrated, which will allow us to also do really cool, weird, different kind of crafty, innovative things that other people can't do. And we also don't have the same restrictions like we talked earlier of the big boys, to where it's because if you guys are like, look, we want to move X number of these cigars to our people and do this really cool thing, and it's totally wacky and it wouldn't make sense in literally any other scenario, but we can all make it make sense in this scenario. Well, that's worth talking about. Anybody else can't do that because of 800 different variables they have to worry about that we don't. And now that we add all this stuff together, it not only do we not have to worry about those variables, but now we have all this other opportunity that's in front of us. And that'll be wonderful. And it'll change the game in terms of maybe even Dissident. What you see and how Dissident is will likely be different, not in a bad way, but in a different way. So that's what'll be cool.
It's funny because we had to involve an attorney to get all of this basically legalized and made into an actual business. And I remember when we had the initial meeting, she's like, okay, she's like, I need to research this because this is awesome, but I've never done this. So just let me research some things. And we're like, okay. So it's awesome. But yeah, it's something very different, I should say, for where we are, the location that we're in. So it'll be announced. I don't know when, but it'll be announced. Yeah, it's going to be, there's a lot of pieces and parts to this, and it's going to all eventually roll out, and everyone's going to be like, oh, this, oh, that's why this, oh, and that's why she's working with these people, and oh my God, it's all making sense. So you guys are going to be able to connect the pieces probably within the next year, just consecutively. You're going to be seeing some stuff and be like, oh, I get the whole picture now. So
and there's some cool stuff rooted in deep ancient history associated with what we're doing too here. So that's really fucking cool for us, because I mean, nothing's cooler than witch doctor shit, like ancient witch doctor shit, right? So that's
fuck you. Like that, you just like give us a cliffhanger on that one. Like, God damn
it. What I'm hearing.
I mean, I was already in, but now, Jesus Christ, yeah, we're looking forward.
He says as he gets up and walks away from the motherfucking camera and microphone.
Sorry.
What I'm hearing is within the next year, either A, we got to do this again to talk about it, or B, because I looked it up earlier in the show, it is between $400 and $500 round trip from Jacksonville to, just a quick search, $400 to $500 round trip from Jacksonville to Nicaragua.
Shit.
Yeah. We either have to do this again, or we all fly down there and do it in person at the factory / field / whatever you can't talk about. And
and Spirit flies here, so like you can find tickets as cheap as like $200-$300 because of Spirit.
Yeah, like I said, this was just
Spirit, but
this was just a quick one, and the first one comes up is American, and it was $400 to $500. And I know I like flying American and Delta, but they are a little bit pricier in that. But
and the great thing is, you have a driver the entire time that'll take you down here. It would all be set up.
Yeah, just message us if you ever really seriously think about it, because Paul, as you know, if you know people in the area, it's very easy. So like we can just send a couple texts and be like, look, when you get off the flight, this dude will find you. Just fucking walk the path. He'll get you in the car. He'll get you here. We can help with all that stuff super easy. So then it's just like, then if you have issues, you just text one of the two of us. And it's like, okay, what do we do next? It's just like, fucking Juan will be there in 2 seconds or whatever, so it's all handled, and it makes it way easy. But the other nice thing is you do a podcast. So just do it live from here, and then you can write it all off anyway.
I'm about it. I would love to come down and just hang out for a day and see what you guys are doing. But even if that doesn't happen, just don't forget about us. Don't forget about the little guys when you guys blow up. We're fans. We're fans now, and we're going to be fans forever. So
for us, it's all about that. Like that matters more than anything else, really, because I don't know. I'm always about the underdog. I'm always about the little guy. Like, I think that's the most important. Like, no matter how successful, I don't know. I feel like no matter how successful I ever get, I'm still the same small town kid from central Iowa. So like,
we all take shits.
Yeah, I can't shake that.
That's right.
I can't shake that. So
I had to break that news to my nephew and my niece recently on a family vacation, and my sister, she said that she does not fart or anything else around her kids or her husband. And I said, my nephew's name's Kellen. I said, Kellen, let me tell you a thing about your mom. And immediately her hands went over his ears and she carted him away from the conversation as fast as she could. Yes.
Well, all of us do except for her.
Yeah, except for her, for sure. Except I can tell you stories. I won't tell stories of my sister on this show. That doesn't seem nice or right, but at the same time, anyway, that I just looked up the flights. 239, I think, from here to Managua. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
But that's one way. But shit, $1,000 from here to another country is pretty fucking amazing. From myself and my wife to come down there, and I think she would shoot me before I ever made the plane if I were to book that for myself. So, and I think Paul and Jerry are probably in the same boat. Like that's. I mean, I know Paul gets his fishing trips, but I'm sure his wife's gonna want to go with him to one of those foreign countries at some point. And Jerry, I'm sure, is the same way. My wife would absolutely shoot me if I did that.
She could hang out in a cabana on the beach and watch the whales while he's out fishing. That's how that'll work.
That's my wife would love that. I'm sure Paul's would too, and Jerry's as well. My wife's not a cigar smoker, but she is a bourbon drinker. She loves bourbon, so we would have to find some time to sit around and a fire maybe and drink some bourbon and smoke some cigars.
There'll be time. Yeah. We can hook you up with a real nice place as close to us or as far away from us as you want.
I think it's something we're quasi joking about, but I think it's something we need to talk about seriously because this sounds.
I'm not quasi joking. I'm definitely considering. This is definitely a consideration for me.
I definitely said it as a joke, but at the same time, seriously.
Just avoid basically late March through late May. Everything else is beautiful.
So hot and humid here during that time. Any other month, you're wonderful. March to May, don't do it.
That's what I was just going to ask that. Like, when's the best time to actually come down for like good weather where we're not just like, walking out into a sheet of humidity.
Yeah. And, like any time after that is great. If you want to see like real fucking Central America jungle life stuff.
Oh gosh, like green?
Yeah, like September-ish.
But they wouldn't see the tobacco fields because it'd be rainy.
That's true. August?
Well, you'd want to do it July, August, September. Those are the driest months of the rainy season.
My birthday's in August, just saying.
Well, settled. It's settled.
Throw that on out there, Jerry.
I think it's settled.
Right when I'm getting my kids ready to go back to school, let's go ahead and spend extra money for. Yeah. Fuck.
It sounds like Adam, you'll have to just make it work. You said you didn't have any money, but just keep one of the kids home for the school season. Or
no, we'll figure something out. I mean,
well, if we're talking August of next year, I mean, you got what 10 months of Powerball tickets that you can rely on.
There it is.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. You know what? If I win the Powerball, I will buy you guys tickets and I will bankroll their next factory expansion.
Hey, all right. We put you all up in a big ass Airbnb, everybody together, mutual kitchen, pool, whatever. Give you a good place to hang out. Make it easy.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. And especially if we're, talking 10 months from now, it sounds like you guys are going to have some exciting news that'll drop by then. Anyway, so that'll
Lord help us.
Definitely not a boring time in our lives right now, unfortunately, but it's all good things.
That's exciting. That's definitely exciting.
One thing I think that we haven't mentioned, and we should. You guys are actually our first guests to live outside the country. I don't think we've ever had another guest on this show that lived outside the country, regardless of their, if they were there for their business or that period. Which I think is very cool because you guys have you're clearly both Americans, but you have a different perspective to provide, especially for your product. Having being that you live in the area and you're right there, so I think that's very cool to hear. A lot of our bourbon guests, of course, they've been right here in Kentucky or in the States at least. And so they're very involved in their product, but we've never had a cigar company that lived outside the country. That's very cool. So thank you for coming on and providing that perspective. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, and we didn't lose electricity, and it's been what, almost 3 hours. That's an accomplishment.
I was going to
Wow.
say, you guys got better internet connection than I normally do.
We actually pay a lot for internet because it has to be satellite, and we live in the jungle, so we pay like $180 a month just for internet, which I feel like that's high even for U.S. standards. Maybe I'm wrong. We haven't been there in 5 years, but
Yeah, no, I pay a lot for internet and TV as well. It's probably about the same. But now you mentioned jungle, and I just got to ask because I'm a little pansy. What's the snake situation over there?
we've seen maybe 6 snakes, and of those 6 snakes, only 1 was poisonous.
No, 2.
And 2?
We saw the Florida lance
Uh-huh.
and we saw the coral snake. Remember?
Oh yes, oh yeah. But we had our son kill the coral snake with the machete.
Because I've killed 11 this year in my yard, but none of them are poisonous. None of them are poisonous. I have a absolute like ridiculous fear of snakes. Like I break
your chance of
right.
shooting one is so slim.
I have a whole snake killing kit. I have an air rifle that has tips on it that will penetrate a snake. I have things I can throw. I have a shovel that's sharpened. I don't. It's an unrealistic fear of snakes that I have. I live on the water on one side and the woods on the other, so it's something I can't deal with, and that's every time I go to Costa Rica. I'm always like, we'll go, 4-wheeling through the jungle and stuff, and I'm just always looking around for snakes because that's like my unrealistic, fear. It makes no sense because all the snakes around me are, they probably help kill the mice and stuff like that, but I just can't go to sleep knowing that there was a snake in my yard, so I have to chop its head off, throw the body in the river, and it's going to a jungle just freaks me out because Florida lance, I would probably pass out. You'd have to drag me back into the house.
You definitely have seen more snakes at your place than we ever have here. But the Florida lance, that one was a little scary, but it was like we were walking kind of by like the forest line, and I just saw it like put its head up really fast and in a really aggressive way, and I'm like, he's pissed for no reason, and he looks scary, and he looks like a Florida lance. And I Googled it, and I was like, that was a fucking Florida lance.
Yeah, no.
That was the only time. But other than that, I mean, like, we get tarantulas in our house on occasion, but
nope, I'm done.
They're so docile. Like,
whatever. Yeah, I don't care about that.
I was about to ask. I was about to say, since we're on this topic, how are spiders? But you said that, and I'm like, nope.
The tarantulas usually, like, we just sweep them up and put them in the jungle. They don't even try to do anything. Like, they're just like, oh, what are you doing? Okay.
They're big, but
yeah, they don't give a shit. Like
wolf spiders. So like,
yeah, the wolf spiders are huge. They're
good.
They don't do shit. But
all I know, neither one of them do shit. But nope.
The good news is that, well, my buddy Ryan, who I've mentioned a few times, he's here a good amount of the time. He's maybe seen 2 or 3 tarantulas in all the time he has been here. And I mean, it's like, and of course at a distance mostly. He said we had to have a tarantula rodeo one night because there was one in our closet that he and I had to wrangle.
Yeah.
No.
But otherwise, but again, you won't have any issues.
I mean, we've been here 5 years, and there's nothing that's scared us away to not want to live in the jungle. So we've adapted, but
yeah, that's reassuring. Yeah, I figured jungle life would be, just you have to get used to the snakes. I mean, with spiders, they're creepy, but I can deal with that shit. The snakes, it'd be a 12-inch long garden snake, and I'm full flop sweat with a shovel trying to get the thing out of my yard. I'm
the opposite.
I'm like an elementary school girl when it comes to snakes. I cannot deal with it at all.
I'm the opposite. I'm fine with snakes. I'll hold them or whatever. Like,
all right, well, when we go for your birthday, I'll take care of the spiders. You take care of the snakes.
Like, that's great because I hate both the motherfuckers. I don't like either fucking both. I don't want anything to do with either one of them. So y'all go ahead and do it, and I will stay inside. Indoors.
I think the most annoying thing would be like if depending on the time of year, the monkeys like to hang out in our trees, and they will howl sometimes when they see the sun come up, which is like 4:30 in the morning, 5. And so sometimes you get woken up by monkeys, and they sound like dinosaurs because they're howler monkeys. So they have this really low, like, and you're just like, it's 4:35 in the morning. You're like, God damn it, I just wanted to sleep a little bit longer, but you can't because they're so loud and like right outside your window. In fact, we were doing a podcast, 2-3 weeks ago, and we're sitting here, and then like the people on the other end, they're like this, like looking through the camera. We're like, what are they looking at? And there was monkeys in the background because we were sitting in another area of our house, and the monkeys were just hanging out. They're like, is that monkeys? And we're like, oh yeah, those are howler monkeys.
Shit.
I'm in Florida. We got Monkey Island. It's all good.
Oh, I saw a video of the Monkey Island. My daughter thought that was AI. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's real.
Was it the one of them just like jumping into the water? With
Yeah.
The lady kayaking or whatever?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Did you guys see that video?
No.
Paul and Adam? This chick was like kayaking through, I think it's Homosassa, and it's in Monkey Island. And all of a sudden, it looked like it was just raining monkeys. They were just like belly flopping in. They were like belly flopping into the water. Which, watching the video, it looks hilarious, but at the same time, it's just like they'll bite. But they just belly flopping, swimming off, and just leaving. And it was hundreds of monkeys just jumping in the water.
Oh my!
Yeah, I did see that. Like I said, I take that back. It was craziness because I was waiting on them to land on her kayak and bite the shit out of her, but they're just
they landed right next to her and just swam around her.
Yeah, it was like an Indiana Jones movie. Just monkeys, but it was craziness. And that would have been cool. That would have been cool to be her and sit there and see all those monkeys. I don't think I'd like those sons of bitches waking me up at 4:30 in the morning, though. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if you guys are. I don't know what the gun laws are in Nicaragua or even the firecracker laws. I'd be going out there setting off some shit just to, maybe think twice about coming back to my house to howl when the sun comes up.
No, like last time I was in Costa Rica, we did like this 4-wheeler tour up a mountain and all that stuff, and they told us, don't take off your helmet when you get out to go to the beach and stuff like that. Don't take off your helmet. And we all, of course, we did. We took off, a bunch of guys. We took off our helmet, and it was a bunch of sloths and monkeys up in the trees. And I'm standing there. We're all talking about what we're gonna do next, and the fucking coconut comes firing down, and I'm standing next to my buddy, and it hits him right in his neck and shoulder, and he's a giant of a man. I mean, he's a big dude, and 6'6" or something. He's massive, and boom, and almost knocks him down, and it's right next to me, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? If it would have hit him in his head, it would have been like we would have had to get him out of there. Like it would have been a medical emergency. It hit him square in his shoulder, and we're looking up, and the guys were like, "We told you to put your helmet on." Like, and it's like I don't know if it just fell from a tree, maybe, or if one of these monkeys threw a coconut at him, or what. But it cracked the shit out of him, and it hit him hard as hell. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh!
We all put our helmets back on. We're like, holy crap!
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess it's not always the snakes and the spiders they're out to get you in the jungle. If you make some noise, the monkeys get pissed too, I guess.
I don't give a fuck. At least that monkey has the same amount of limbs that I have. That's the problem with snakes and spiders that I have. 8 of them sons of bitches or none of them sons of bitches. It's just too much, too little. I can't handle it. It's fucking weird. And anything more than like a centipede and whatever, I can't do it.
That's another question. Jungle life. Do you have anything other than what we're talking about, like lizards or insects or something that you got to be aware of and be cognizant of?
Yeah, we have lots of iguanas, really big iguanas, scorpions, lemurs, 3 different types of monkey.
The little geckos are in the house and around. You hear them chirping all the time.
Yeah. That's really it.
Anything you got to be worried about other than like poisonous snakes?
No.
Scorpions, but they're not like deadly. They're like a bad bee sting. But I mean, like I've never, knock on wood, in 5 years, I've never been stung by a scorpion. our kids have been stung a million times because they fucking leave their clothes on the ground and they don't. I'm like, natural consequences. Why the fuck you leaving a pile of laundry on the ground? Like it's stung by a scorpion. Natural consequences. So
Cockroaches are the big ones.
Oh, the big hissing ones.
Oh, the ones.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Oh yeah.
They're
palmetto
crazy.
bugs.
Yeah.
Or the grasshoppers here.
They're like the size of your hand.
Yeah, they're
Oh.
6-7 inches.
Yeah.
Now those I don't mind. Those I don't mind. Scorpions, because they got, I don't even know how many, 6 legs and that fucking tail and all that.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like an H.R. Geiger special. In real life, I just can't fucking do it. That shit scares the fuck out of me, and I don't care if they're deadly or not.
Thankfully, you probably won't see any of these things we're talking about, really. Like, if you're here for a length of time, or you get real lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, then maybe. But it's, they don't want to be around your ass. They want to fucking be off
Sure.
juggling things.
Yeah,
Sure.
and we have a housekeeper that cleans our house every day, and she makes our beds, and she makes them so tight that nothing could even get into our fucking beds. And it's like that with every house on the farm we live on. They all have their own caretakers. And a lot of times when people want to come here, we'll put them in a house that's on this farm because we know they're going to get food cooked and everything else. And your bed's going to be made nice and fucking tight. You're not going to be getting anything in your bed.
Awesome.
So, do you guys eat any of that weird shit now that you've been in Nicaragua? Because I know they probably eat insects and stuff like that because it's everywhere. Why wouldn't you?
Not really. You don't see much insect stuff, but iguanas occasionally. Peleble, which are like a sheep-goat mix. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they definitely don't leave any scraps here when it comes to food. So, if they harvest a pig, they're also eating the head and the feet. Our goddaughter, who is our housekeeper's daughter, when she was I should say a baby, when she was teething, I used to give her pig's feet, frozen pig's feet to chew on.
Chicken feet.
Or chicken feet, sorry. So we'd have a bag of frozen chicken feet in our freezer, and I would just hand her one, and she'd just chew on it to soothe her teeth. So, I mean, everything is used here. I would never eat that stuff myself, but I'm glad it doesn't go to waste here. They really value food because it's just different here, they have to work hard for everything that they have. So you get really humbled in this country. When you come here, you'll leave a different person because you're going to have a completely different perspective about life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm looking forward to it because we've already decided we're coming.
and it sounds like Florida's not too far off of Nicaragua with their crazy animals because we got all that same shit here.
Yeah, it is very
one of my
similar.
One of my favorite times of year is roughly right about now when it starts hitting that 70 degrees and iguanas. Well, I'm in North Florida, but South Florida and Central Florida, iguanas just start dropping from trees because it's too cold.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially down there in Miami and Key West.
Key West, yeah, I've heard about. I've never been to Key West, but I've heard they just fall out of the trees. You got to be careful walking under trees and fall.
Once it starts hitting 70 and below, you got to watch your head because they're what are they, cold-blooded? So as soon as, or warm-blooded, as soon as it drops, they just go docile and just fall.
Oh,
and
so they're still alive. They're just
once they warm back up, they'll flip back over and run away. But
wow, that's crazy. Huh.
Yeah,
the iguanas here would just die. They wouldn't know how to handle any of that. They'll just be like.
Yeah, there's videos I've seen of there's just an iguana in the middle of the street at night. It's just frozen, and then someone takes a video in the morning, and when it starts warming up again, you just see them slowly just go and then just take off.
Wow, that's crazy.
It gets 60, 70 degrees. They just freeze, and then it warms up, and they're just nothing happened.
Wow. Huh.
So yeah, watching them fall from the trees is hilarious. But
reptiles are creepy. No for reptiles for me. Reptiles are creepy. They're fucking aliens.
Probably.
No, they're dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs. Legit dinosaurs. One quick question before we probably sign out here. If you were to pair one of your cigars, any of them, with the Penelope, which one would it be?
Plasmatic. That's my favorite one with that.
So what I'm thinking is we get some of those. I'll get you guys some samples of this, and whether it's an episode or just like a little quick bonus episode or just even a YouTube short or something, we'll do a little review on those two. So
Yeah,
that's what
let
I'm
us
thinking.
know what you think.
Good to me.
And then
And
we'll
let
have
us
to get a
know
hold
when
of.
Let us know when you decide to start planning, and we'll help you fucking
Yeah.
get the back end things done.
And then we'll have to get a hold of Lee and see if we get him on and what he wants to pair with this, and we'll do another one of those too.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Right on. Well, folks, I think that pretty much does it for another episode of Bourbon Beards and Belvederes. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sitting down for Cynn and Joshua. It's been a great time. We appreciate you guys giving us 3 hours of your life.
Absolutely.
And it's been a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun listening to you guys. As always, take care of your local veterans or veterans abroad and active duty military. Let's support them any way we can. Be on the lookout for the that's what I'm looking for. I've forgotten the word.
giveaway.
No. the charity, Veterans Against Suicide. I'm doing 2,000 push-ups in the month of November. If you can donate to that, that'd be great. Also, as Jerry mentioned, be on the lookout for the giveaway, the Veterans Charity Give It Away. That'll be a bottle of 10th Mountain Rye, single barrel. What was the pick, Jerry? Who picked it?
Sip Society.
Okay.
Myself and I think it's like 4 other people.
Yep. Paul's got the bottle held up right there. It's a great bottle, and all proceeds go to BC40 Hunts. That is a charity that what is his title at 10th Mountain, Jerry?
Shit, I think he just makes it up. He was
Master of
like
Whiskey. Brian,
Yeah.
Master of Whiskey.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
he was
Brian,
like the marketing for like the military marketing, but yeah, he's just he is 10th Mountain Whiskey.
Yeah, we'll go with Brian, Master of Whiskey. His charity takes veterans on really cool hunts, elk hunts, and all these things. I know he was working on a safari hunt the last time that we talked to him. Just these really cool things that veterans get to do. That giveaway also comes with some great products from veteran-owned Lit Beard Co. Great products that we've had on the show before. We've had their founder on the show before. We really enjoy these products, and it also comes with a 150 count cigar humidor. The details on that giveaway will be forthcoming. It starts in November, and we're looking forward to seeing who wins that. Also, be sure to look out for children. The world's nuts, and they need us to be there for them. Let's always be sure to support the most vulnerable of groups out there. Until next week, cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Also, before we sign out, Cynn and Joshua, where can they find you guys?
Oh, multiple places. Cynn Coburn for Instagram and Dissident Cigars _official on Instagram. And then he's Joshua Coburn on Instagram. And then same with Facebook for both of us. And then there's also a Dissident Cigars group page on Facebook as well.
There we go.
Awesome. And Jerry, be sure to edit that so that I don't sound like an asshole that forgot to ask them that question.
No, it's staying that way.
Thank you guys again for giving us your time. And again, until next week, cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.